Hit him with the Stevie Wonder. Hey, hit him with the Stevie Wonder. Yo, and we back because we black. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the CJK Experience. I know I kind of wanted to you know what? There is no particular way. I do it when I can. I know it's supposed to be Fridays, but sometimes when you feel the energy in the air, you just feel the energy in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an exciting week in YouTube land. I've been having a great time in this sphere and doing the things that we do. Shout out to all my nurses, but for all y'all who don't know who I am, my name is CJ Kaios, the high value nurse. And what I do is 90% of this channel is dedicated to nursing, but the other 10% is dedicated to becoming the best version of yourself, current events, topics, and the dumb stuff on occasions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time that we bring in a couple guests that I have. So, first up, I would like to introduce Miss Chris. She's a frequent guest. This is the Blooming Ebony. Make sure y'all go check out her platform. And my next guest, King motherfucking Gene in the building. What's going on?
What's going on, brother? How you?
Man, I'm just cool and I can't call it, man. But I just wanted to say, man, it's good to have y'all here again. It's good to have y'all here. Can y'all hear the music in the background? Can y'all hear that?
Yes, it's low, but we can hear it.
Is it distracting? Yeah. All right, good, cool. You know, because I like to have a little, like a little laid back atmosphere and everything like that. So, as y'all know earlier, y'all, we did a fresh and fit breakdown. But I said, you know what? And that was going to be my original topic tonight. But I said, yeah, we kind of talked about the trash too much. I said, it's time to highlight some of the good. So today, I wanted to talk about Black men redefining the Black culture. And tomorrow, I would like to talk about Black women that are redefining the Black culture. So I want to put some respect and some libations on the family. So I want to start off with this. But first, before I do that, let me ask you, how has y'all week been? How's your day been today? What have y'all been up to?
Ladies first.
Nothing really. The weather's been indecisive. It's cloudy, sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's somehow both. I don't understand why or how that's possible, but that's Oregon for you.
I like Michigan.
But not too bad. Can't complain.
Hey, King Gene, she got her own personal gardener, fam.
I didn't know that.
Really? Yeah, man. Came to the crib the other day. I said, man, she must got a mansion or something got her own. She said, oh, yeah, give me 1 second. I got to let the gardener in. Dude, she had me hold down her live on her Instagram for about 4 minutes. I'm like, look, I don't know what to tell these people. They trying to see the Ebony. They ain't trying to see the nurse. You dig what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So, what about you, King Gene? How you been doing?
Well, today, man, I took it easy, but around about 2:00, I felt the urge to get up and cook. So that's what I did, man. We cooked a little something for my daughter. We cooked some fried fish, fried some shrimp, made a salad for some rolls. Yeah, I feel real country, so that's what I did. I got up and cooked.
Hey, man, I ain't mad at that. Where you from, King Gene? What state you reside in?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. M.I. crooked letter.
There it is.
Shout out to Mississippi, man. So let's get into it. As of late, I don't know if any of you are familiar. Are you familiar with Tariq Nasheed, Chris?
I've heard his name, but I haven't watched any of his content.
Okay. So about 20 years ago, Tariq Nasheed released a book called The Art of Macking. It was a bestseller, and it was pretty much the book that launched the PUA movement, the pickup artist movement. In my opinion, it was the genesis to all this red pill stuff that you see now. I feel like Tariq Nasheed was the originator of that. And because 20 years ago, there were no books like The Art of Macking and breaking down dating and relationships and stuff like that. It didn't exist. And then some of the white boys, they took it and they ran with it. And then you have what is now known as the pickup artist community, and that later evolved into the red pill community and all that stuff. So, in my opinion, Tariq Nasheed started all that. Fast forward some years later, he continued to put out more books, and you now have his series called Hidden Colors. Hidden Colors is the number one best-selling African history documentary of all time. It was grassroots funded. The first one came out in 2010. I donated to every last one of them. Very, very good information. And it's talking about the hidden history of Americans and Africans and the history that they don't show you. Fast forward a couple years later, he makes 1804. 1804 talks about the hidden history of Haiti. And if you fast forward to the current times, he's been putting in a lot of work. In 30 days, he raised $1 million to build his Hidden History Museum, which I feel is an amazing feat. And like I said, he doesn't have 1 million followers. He's not the most talked about in all the fears and the manosphere and the red pill space and all that kind of stuff. He kind of moved to me. He 10 years ago, he was Kevin Samuels before Kevin Samuels came along, because he got the same type of heat that Kevin Samuels used to get. They used to come for him. And but this was way prior to Kevin Samuels. But anyway, in a nutshell, he's been getting some backlash and everything like that, because people are like, he's been pimping the black community and all that kind of stuff. And so, to make a long story short, let me see. Hold on. Showing that the nation of Haiti. Okay, I'll read that in 1 second. But to make a long story short, he's raised the money. People are upset because they feel like there's now been a division between like foundational Black Americans and Black people that are not from Americans, Caribbean Blacks, and Blacks from across other parts of the world, and all that crazy stuff. And to me, I just felt like dude has put in a lot of work. So, King Gene, are you familiar with Tariq Nasheed?
I have seen some of the podcasts that he's done, and I know for a certainty one of the ones that come to mind is the one that he did with Jesse Lee Peterson. That's one of the first ones that come to mind, my brother. But I will say this: for all of the heat that the brother got, he's a genuine brother from what I've seen, and man, he is sticking to the things that he believes in. And so, anytime you deal with a gentleman like that, man, you have to have some admiration for him.
Right. Now we have Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels came along, and I think we're all quite familiar with Kevin, because he came along in 2015, about 8 months ago. This video blew up. The average at best, average at best, average at best, and it caused a whirlwind, to say the least. It launched him in the superstardom on YouTube, if you will. Now, Kevin talks about what a lot of the other red pill content people talk about, but to me, he does it in a more realistic way. He talks about the theory, and not so much theory, but he talks about the idea of the high value man. He tells you all the time he didn't start it. It's always been there, but he just made it popular. Now, I remember years ago, Tariq Nasheed was talking about something called the urban renaissance man. They're pretty much the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like these men, especially with Kevin Samuels, and we'll start with Kevin Samuels because, Chris, I think you're more familiar with him. How do you feel that Kevin Samuels, and this question is for you too, King Gene, do you feel that Kevin Samuels has changed, or is helping to redefine and shape what Black culture is? Because Kevin Samuels is now a full-blown celebrity. Full-blown. So what do you think about that?
I think it's a possibility. I think, if we're not to the point where he's sort of redefining it, he's at least pointed out the gaps in it, which I think is the first step to redefining a culture, is to understand the gaps that you have in the culture. And so I guess I'd be leaning towards yes, I do. I think he's done a really good job, and there are many people before him who also point out these issues. I think his delivery was something that really couldn't be avoided because everyone is kind of connected somehow. And I think that's the difference between him and like Shahrazad Ali, who was
Mm,
saying a lot of this stuff, but you didn't have to buy her book if you didn't want to. But it was really hard to avoid Kevin Samuels. And so I think that he's done a really good job of identifying the gaps between Black women and Black men, because those gaps, I think, are what have truly hurt our culture. Like the lack of marriages, just everything that has to do with Black men and Black women not wanting to be a team. He's done a really good job of identifying those. And I think that's where we're going to start redefining the culture.
And he mentions Shahrazad Ali a lot. You can tell that woman is someone he admires because he brings up, especially in a lot of his earlier broadcasts, he brings her up a lot. And Shahrazad Ali was also in the Hidden Colors documentary series. In the last one, Hidden Colors 5, she went off, completely off. King Jane, what about you? Do you think Kevin Samuels, with this new wave of YouTube and these new YouTube influencers, do you think that Kevin Samuels is redefining or helping to shape and redefine what we now know as Black culture?
I'll tell you what, I have to piggyback off what Chris just mentioned, because I'm noticing that a lot of people in their podcasts and even in day-to-day conversation with people, they're more interested now in finding solutions. And I think a lot of that is due to him. You're looking at things that at one point we were okay with, because I know one thing, and I might step on a couple of toes, but I'm going to do it. One thing that he really champions that I can identify with is the father being in the home, the father having, dealings with the children, positive dealings with the children, and trying to, perhaps go back to the nuclear family. Now, that's something that he says that I'm really in agreement with, and that is historically a point of contention for us as a community, man. For some reason, it's so difficult for us to maintain a two-parent household. And
Mhm.
when you run into an individual that has a two-parent household, it's kind of foreign. It's kind of odd. So, like Chris said, that he's pointing the gaps out, and it's really got people speaking about what they can do to, perhaps solve some of the difficulty that we face. So, I think he is at least starting the conversation, if nothing else.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. The idea of the high value man, I have to ask you all this, both of you, because that has been a major topic in not just Black YouTube, but all of YouTube. What is this high value man? He's defined it. Uh, do you feel like well, first of all, let me get your thoughts on the high value man, Chris. What do you feel personally about the idea and the theory of the high value man, if you will?
I think it's evolved with Kevin Samuels. When I first entered into the femininity space, like the healthy side of femininity space, the idea of a high value man was um, a man who was a provider, a protector, um, and added a lot of value back to your life. Allowed you to maintain your femininity, um, and also who was constantly improving as well. So if he wanted to have kids, he was going to figure out how to have the kids and be able to afford it. Like he was very, very focused and driven. Now the high value man, and the way that Kevin Samuels defines it, is I believe someone who makes, is it at least six figures, and then surrounds himself with people who also make six figures. Um, and I don't think that high value is strictly monetary. So I struggle with that. But I think that he's definitely feeding off of. So let me put it this way: if he hadn't defined it, I feel like we wouldn't have noticed that that's what a lot of women wanted.
Mhm.
So even though it's not how I defined it, and what he's saying is high value isn't what necessarily I want. By him defining it, he's been able to kind of expose a lot of these women who want that. Um,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it's evolved, to summarize.
King Gene, what do you think about this idea of the high value man? And with it becoming so popular, do you feel like young men are going to strive more to become this high value man?
Well, now in addition to the monetary part, I was looking at the end of one of his videos where he was dropping a dime, as he said, on the high value men. And one of the things that he emphasized in that particular video that I had never heard him emphasize before, in addition to the monetary component, he was speaking about ethics, and then about individuals having discipline, and that discipline uh, may be guided, could be guided by a person's religion. And so that was the first time that I had heard that from him, because, like Chris said, the majority of the time the focus is on $10,000 or more a month. That's what an individual, and they will need to make that particular amount over a span of years. And then they would have a high value network of individuals. And then one of the things he said too, that I think, as Chris mentioned, the evolution of what that term is, he also threw in that this person would be valuable to those around him. So until that point, I'd never seen, or heard any of that,
Mm-hmm.
But now I think as far as the definition goes, even though it may be a little bit unsettling to some of us, I think the younger crowd seeing this, especially those in our community, they're going to push to be this kind of individual. They're going to push to do it, and I think that's a good thing. Not because of the monetary aspect of it, but if you're talking about somebody that has ethics, that has principles that guide them, what we're really talking about is, like Chris said, you're talking about somebody that's high value in another way. They're high value to those around them based upon the way that they present themselves. And I'm going to go here, CJ.
Take me
They,
there. Take
those,
me
those
there.
those men are practicing true masculinity. This is real manhood. This ain't this fresh and fit manhood that we done seen in the past couple of days. This is real protect, provide, teach in its fullest sense. So I think it's gonna be good.
All right. Well, with that being said, I want to bring this in. I want because oh shoot, hold on. Here we go. I wanted to, and this is fair use. I want to get his definition on what he defines as a high value man. Now we're gonna break down each point, but I just want to break it down. I don't think I'm big enough yet for him to say something to me about using this content, but this is fair use. But if he did say something, I would take it down. But here it is.
Glad you asked. Let's define it. Welcome back. For those of you who don't know, my name is Kevin Samuels. I'm a professional men's and corporate image consultant. My job is to make sure my clients look good, smell great, and are the best version of themselves each and every day. But who are we kidding? The reason you're here right now is because the term high value man seems to be everywhere. Full disclosure, I didn't create the term, guys. High value man has been with us for a long time. I have just put my own unique spin on it and kind of popularized it, and it has kind of gone viral. But here's the thing. So many people are talking about high value this, high value that. And many times they're actually talking about me and saying as though, well, Kevin said this or Kevin said that. And many people are getting it 100% wrong. So in an attempt to make sense of all this, I want to give you guys the simple 6 basic principles that I define as being high value. Now, again, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying, but this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying a high value man. So your mileage may vary, your opinion is your opinion, but when I'm talking about it, this is what I'm talking about. So let's get it started. First of all, let's go over some basic definitions. High, great, greater than normal in quantity, size, or intensity.
I think it's important that we note that he said that it's your definition. It's what he says is what he looks at is high value, is how he interprets it. I think there are things in society that make a person valuable that you cannot ignore. If you are giving to a society and they are benefiting off the things that you are giving to the world, that makes you a high value person. Jeff Bezos is a high value person, in my opinion. Um, besides the money, but what he gives to the world. Um, Men like Tyler Perry, who employs thousands upon thousands of people. I may not agree with what he does, but he is indeed high value from what he does. He is a valuable commodity. He gives to people. People benefit off of his success. So I think it's important that we have to remember everything is all subjective at the end of the day, but there are some things that are based in fact. So there we go.
Value, the regard of something held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. And man, an adult human male. So when you put all that together, what do you have? An adult human male that's greater than normal importance or usefulness to what? The group. Basic economic principle states that the value of something is what a market is willing to pay for it. The value is determined by what? The market. And when we're talking about individuals, the market is other people, men or women. So a high value man is completely determined by the market. Case in point, you can have a
Okay, I'm
vehicle,
trying to get to the point where he
a
gets
home,
to the
anything in your
first
possession.
comment, to the
You can
first
hold it dear. It could be supremely important forever. So when we
the
start
6
talking about
points.
that, we're dealing with people. It really throws people off because it seems so cold, so calculated. But
All
like it
right.
or not, that's the way the world is. Number one, in order to be a high value man, it starts with money. Again, like it or not, I didn't put the six figure thing out there. It's been with us since the mid 80s. And like it or not, that's where this whole thing starts. You can't be high value and homeless. So you have to make a certain amount of money. And the line is roughly at $10,000 a month adjusted for Atlanta dollars. If you live in San Francisco, LA, New York City, where the cost of living is higher than 100%, you need to adjust it. So $10,000 a month gets the starting point off for high value. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving you what the world gave me. No.
Okay. So let's start with point number one, the money. How do y'all feel about that? As somebody who if somebody is striving to be high value, they talk about the money aspect. What's up, Japrice? Come on through if you available. If you available, come on in. Come on in. But let me put the link up real quick. Uh, but how do y'all feel about that? The money aspect. A man has to make at least $10,000 a month to start. That's the starting point. What do you think?
Do you want to take it first, King Gene?
Okay. When I think about that, $10,000 a month. Now, the average African American man is somewhere between $42,000 and $45,000 a year.
Correct.
All right. So having to make $10,000 in a month is, in my opinion, it's more of a push than anything else. It's a call to a person doing more than they have been doing. Uh, so now you're working longer hours. The thought process is, what can I do to bring in more resources? What skills do I have that I can utilize? I need to bring all of my weapons to bear so that I can meet this goal. And so you have to be focused. So I think hidden behind that monetary figure is a whole lot of work that needs to be done. And if the work is done, then hey, then the 10K will come.
I think I'm getting right to you, Chris. But roughly, he says you have to start at the very base because I've heard him say this too, at 100 grand. So that's because 10K a month. That's 120,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly 100 grand. That's what he says. I've heard him say it before, but I think it's adjusted to according to the scenario. But Chris, go ahead.
I can understand what he's saying. I think for me, it's hard to say just the monthly like salary, because I think it's also dependent on, how good are you with debt? How many assets do you own? Do you plan on owning assets? Do you have the ability to do this? How many streams of income do you have? If you lose your job, how much savings do you have in place to maintain the lifestyle that you have currently? I think, he simplifies it to make it simple, make it catchy, which you have to do as an entertainer. But I do think that there is a lot more to being high value, just looking at it from a monetary perspective that has to be taken into account. You can be rich and broke at the same time. It's possible.
Oh, that's a whole
And
thing.
so I think it's important to, like King Jean was saying, to have that discipline. If you strive to make 10 grand a month, which I think is a wonderful goal, consider ways that you can get there. Just thinking about it, and it's just like striving for that goal. You may not reach a 10,000, but maybe you'll pay off 100 grand of debt and have additional income. So I kind of like that he throws this out there, because I feel like it's kind of triggering an alarm for men, like, oh, I want to be that. And so they're going to work harder. Even if they don't get there, they'll probably learn some pretty great financial habits along the way. So I think that's a beneficial message, even though it may not be achievable for a lot of men. I think that it's not completely unrealistic to where they should just shut down and not try at all.
Right. I really think one of the videos that really motivated me and inspired me was the video that he put out called "Where do you rank as a man?" And that, like, for some reason, like my father is in my life. Like, I've always kind of known these things. Like, we've never had the high value talk, like, or anything like that. We never talked about that. But for some reason, when he made that video and it was put into perspective, like, it clicked for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's all about the type of lifestyle that an individual wants to live. So in order to do that, um, there's a certain amount of work that has to be put in. And I think if we tell more men that, hey, this is the kind of life that you could live, but you have to sacrifice. If there's a cost to being a high value man, like, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. There's a cost to making six figures. You know what I'm saying? And some people will say, well, six figures isn't a lot of money. Knock it off. Six figures is six figures. Listen, I mean, I know that depends on where you are, though. You know what I'm saying? Because 100 grand in Michigan is not 100 grand in Sacramento, California. I get that. I get that point. But most of the country is not like Sacramento, California, and not like California out there. In Michigan, making $40,000 a year, you can live a decent life here. You know what I'm saying? Making $50,000 in Atlanta, you can live a decent life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's wonderful that men strive to be this high value person, but you have to have your reason. You have to have your why for doing so. My why is that I never want to be broke again. I'm a bougie dude at my core. I like nice things. I like going nice places. And I just like, I mean, that's just who I am. I'm bougie. I don't like used stuff. You know what I'm saying? I like nice, like, I'm not a jewelry guy. I'm not the flashy guy, but I do like, when I do buy something, I go somewhere. I like nice things. Like, for example, I want to pay $40,000 to go on a cruise. That's just me, though. You dig what I'm saying? And I think in order to live that lifestyle, you have to work hard and put in work. And I think it paints a good picture for men to subscribe to, in my opinion. Now, there's nothing wrong with being average. If you want to be average, that's fine, but at the same time, if you want to be high value, or what you consider as high value, and make those six figures, I think that's a good thing as well. King Gene, what do you think?
I agree. Now, and this whole premise, especially what Chris just said, reminded me of a video that I watched with what is this guy's name? He's a psychologist. His last name is Peterson.
Oh, Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. And what he talked about is that what young men really responded to when he would talk to them is responsibility. You have something that you can pick up. It's heavy, but you can pick it up and you can carry it. And he was saying that the sheer thought that even though you might not be good at everything else, this one particular thing you can do, and so it gives you pride, it gives you intention. And I think in a roundabout way, that first point is what Kevin Samuels is trying to do. He's trying to just steer you in the right direction. Okay, like Chris mentioned, you might not be able to fully make that 10K, but the effort that you put in, a lot of times, and I know, CJ, this is true of you because it's true of me. Maybe not with Chris, because Chris seems to be extremely intelligent anyway. But a lot of time with us guys, man, if something may happen and we say, well, no, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. I don't think I have the capacity to do it. And then someone comes along and just gives us a stiff push, and we're able to accomplish something we never thought we could. And from that point on, it's as if a light goes on, and you like, well, where's the next challenge?
Yeah, that's a
What,
fact.
where's the next thing that I can conquer? And so I think that's what that 10K is for a lot of individuals. They're saying he's pushing them. He's saying this is something you can do, but here are the requirements. So now you got to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and he also says that you don't have to be high value. You can be a great person and not be quote unquote high value. That's not something that you have to do. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like all black men should strive to be high value. I'm not gonna lie to
Absolutely.
you. In my opinion, I think that should always be the goal, to be the best high value person that you can be. I think all black men should strive to make that most money that they can make. I think that would solve a lot of the issues. Not all, but I think it will solve some of the issues in our community if we had something like that really that was promoted and to strive for. These rappers and these promoters and these entertainers promote garbage. And unfortunately, a lot of our young brothers look forward to that. And I think that's why the pushback against Kevin Samuels is so great, because I don't think he just get pushback from the angry women who don't like him. I think a lot of, and this is me putting my conspiracy theory hat on, right? I think a lot of people on top don't like the message that he's pushing, because if you get a whole generation of black men to wake up and say, I see Japrice trying to come in. I don't know if this the real Japrice. Oh yeah, that's her. That's her. I'm about to let her in. Y'all know I'm paranoid now. They they tried to troll a player. They tried to get him up out of here.
Hi.
What's going on? But what was I about to say? Oh, but
Can you
I
guys
think
hear
these
me? I'm using my
corporations.
phone and I am using my AirPods. Can you guys hear me well?
I can hear you
Hi.
just fine.
Okay, perfect.
But I do feel like a lot of promoters and a lot of entertainers and the corporations, they push this awful mentality. And I feel like if a person like Kevin Samuels is, and this is why I feel like Kevin Samuels will never go mainstream. I think he's too much of a threat,
Mm-hmm.
because somebody that's preaching that kind of message of the black family, and to me, Kevin Samuels is very pro-black. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, from what he says, he talks about staying on code and all that stuff. When you have a man who dresses nice, who articulates well, who can debate his thoughts in a non-emotional factor, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people up top like that. Now, y'all know me. I don't subscribe to the theory of somebody this bit bag boogeyman trying to hold you back, because I think if you put in enough work, anything is possible. But I do think that if Kevin Samuels was seen on a platform, huge platform, if the corporations and if the people, the Viacoms and all that, if they exposed him to the masses, I think it will be a major problem. I think the only way he will be exposed to the masses like that if he totally switched up his message. Um, but anything y'all want to add? Come on back to Priest. What happened? Did they kidnap you? What's going on? Send us something. Send us something. Blink twice if you need help. Oh, here she is. Here she is. Here she is.
Okay, I'm back.
Danny says she never looked at it that way. Well, come on through, Danny. Well, tell me how you looked at it. Come on. Come on in here. Come on in here. Let me know how you looked at it. Japrice, let me get your thoughts. Have you been hearing what we've been saying so far? Shout out to
No, can you
all
fill me in a little bit?
okay, I'll let you know. But shout out to all the people that's watching right now. We got a nice little gang of people watching right now. So y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. But anyway, we've been talking about Tariq Nasheed and Kevin Samuels, and we're talking about black men redefining of what is black culture, right? So, earlier we spent quite a bit of time talking about the trash, fresh and fit. So I decided that let's lay off the garbage, the filth, the disgust all that. Let's lay off that for a minute and let's talk about the good. In my opinion, are you familiar with Tariq Nasheed?
Um, the first time I've ever heard of him is when you were mentioning him, and after I did hear you speak, say his name multiple times, I did go on YouTube. I did watch maybe like one or two videos.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess yeah, I can. If you say his name, then I'll know who he is and pretty much what he speaks about, what
All
he
right.
represents.
All right, so we've been basically talking about because a lot of people did. Well, Chris, me and King Gene kind of knew. Well, I knew King Gene was a little familiar, and Chris were they was she. I don't think she knew much, but I kind of gave them like a breakdown of what Tariq Nasheed done. But since the panel didn't really know much about him, and I'll get into it more later, we went to Kevin Samuels, and we were talking about how Kevin Samuels is also helping to redefine and reshape Black culture. You know what I'm saying? So hold on. I'm gonna get to that comment. We got some comments up in here, and shout out to everybody that's commenting right now. But we were first talking about the theory and the idea of the high value male, right? So the first thing, because I got the video and we're reacting to it, but we're breaking it down piece by piece. The first thing he was talking about was money, $10,000 a month or more. Do you think that being a high value male is something that men should subscribe to and aim to be?
Like being that $10,000 is pretty much what you should be making. What
Well, that's
month?
the start. That's the starting. But before we
And
get to the money aspect, I just want to ask you: do you feel like men should strive to be a high value male?
I believe so. I mean, I believe that they should be. You know, if I'm high value, it's like somebody who is of value, has morals, right? And that's assertive and competitive and things of that nature, right?
In a nutshell, yeah.
Okay, okay. I believe so. Yeah. Ah, I believe so. Be a stand up guy, a solid guy. Yeah.
And okay, and the money component, $100,000. That's the starting point. In order, how Kevin Samuels defines it, $100,000 is where you have to start to be considered a high value male. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with. Okay, I don't agree with that only because what like only like what 10% and or less makes about $100,000 a year.
Hmm.
Um, and those jobs consist of like what STEM or like engineers or doctors and stuff like that, and those jobs really aren't that common. So like especially in the Black community, I believe that if um, you're bringing enough to at least pay the rent for your family and pay the bills, you know, and at least save at least about at least maybe like $500 a month. But I don't believe that it should be a standard for everyone across the board as far as like as far as like money or like income.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Kevin Ann says Kevin Samuels does not always articulate his message in a non-emotional level. He is a twice divorced man reared by a single parent female whose position he arbors. Okay. The correction. Okay. Why is the divorce a problem? Exactly. What does that even matter?
mm,
She says money is the only thing that you are looking at, which we're not. And what he always says, money isn't the only thing, but it's the starting
that
point.
makes the man a high
But if
value.
money is the only thing that you are looking at, a high value man might qualify a drug dealer, but he is on the dead run. No, ma'am, Miss Anki. Absolutely not. We're not just looking at that. But I'm gonna bring the video back and get into the next part. So hold on. Yo, this is hard being a host and trying to navigate, man. We having a
Number two,
job.
that money needs to be made over a length of time, i.e., performance. And that's roughly about 5 years. And about the 3 year mark, you're kind of starting to scratch the surface. Why does it need to be 5 years? Well, because, guys, it's a matter of consistency and stability. Look in the NFL, the NBA, anybody can have a great season, but having a great season does not automatically mean you're going to the Hall of Fame. They want to see consistent numbers over a period of time. You know how this works, just like I do in business. You can't be a one-hit wonder or have up here and down there. Consistency, performance over a length of time. That's why that 5 year mark is so important. Like I said, around 3 years, you're starting to scratch the surface, but in 5 years, people can pretty much count on you to say, this person understands and knows how to get it done. Number three is group acceptance. Like it or not, guys, high value men is like a fraternity. It's like a club, a secret society. And high value men know other high value men. They welcome them into the group. They know what it takes to be there. They know what it takes to get in there. And high value men, group acceptance is supremely important. Guys, secret societies, fraternities, organizations have always been with us. And you know how this just works in just general interaction. Guys that just make their own secret society or club, but it doesn't matter as much as somebody says that group is important. Guys, this is about separation. High value men tend to huddle around other high value men for reasons I'm going to go into a little bit later. But group acceptance is another critical component of being a high value man. Why is
Okay. Now, I want to get you guys' thoughts on that part, which I wholeheartedly agree on. Um, so let's see. All right. Group acceptance. I truly believe and I subscribe to the idea of birds of a feather do flock together. Um, if you are constantly hanging out with three broke people, four broke people all the time, you are bound to become the fifth. Oh, not everybody believes that, but that's just something I personally tend to believe in. To go back to Japrice's point that she had made earlier, you said 10% of the population only make that kind of money. I think that's the point. I think that's absolutely the point of being considered quote unquote high value. But I do think those jobs are they are available. People just have to do the work. Like I know several nurses that have made six figures, and have been doing it for years. So I mean, it's not hard in this field. It's not hard. And the field that I'm in, it's very attainable very quickly if you're willing to put in the work. But what do y'all feel about that? About the group aspect of it? Do you feel like birds of a feather should flock together? Do you believe in separation when it comes to being of a certain status?
I
I
can go
believe so.
first. Oh, never mind. King Jing, you.
Now, if you want to go ahead, Chris. But yeah, okay, I believe so. Because here's the thing: it's like you said, birds of a feather flock together. If you think about it, if you're the new bird to the group, right, and you all have the same desires, you all have the same goals, you want to maintain your high value status, then because you're the new bird to the group, then those individuals that have been doing it for so long, what they will do is they'll give you strategies. They'll coach you in certain situations. They'll take is and I the only thing I can think of is and I've seen this happen with my first daughter. My wife was a new mother, and all of the mothers in the family surrounded her and coached her on how to deal with stomach aches and gas and all the things that come with having a child and being new to it. So it's the same thing within the group. The older individuals serve to stabilize the younger individuals, and so it helps that person to grow. And then as that group continues to grow, those individuals who are older who may leave the group for whatever reason, then the individuals that have been trained can continue the group by helping the ones that come after them. So I think it's a cycle that, uh, as Kevin talked about, it's a cycle of separation, but it's necessary because you don't. It's like you said, CJ. You don't want to be hanging around people who have a mindset where they're not going anywhere, and you have potential to be high value. You don't want to be around those individuals so that they can influence you with how they feel. So I think it's necessary.
All right, Chris.
I totally agree. I don't use the birds of the same feather flock together saying. Mine is you're the average of who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important. Like when you think of an average, if you have a long list of numbers and you throw in a bigger number, it's going to increase your average. It's really important to have that pull in the right direction. And that's kind of what you're doing is you're you're building out a network with the hopes that you're going to move in that direction, that they're going to pull you in that direction, and they're going to have a positive influence on your growth. And so I think it's extremely, and it's not like you don't have to, I think you mentioned something about separation. You can have different sets of friends. Like I have accounting friends, and there's like a certain type of accounting friends that I hang out with. And then, I have certain family members who I go to for certain things, who I prefer to surround myself with because maybe their mindsets work a certain way or are a certain way. But it's really important to have people who pull you in the direction you want to go. Because they're going to have influence on your life and the decisions you make. And they're also going to have connections with the people that you need connections with. And so it's very important. I think that's how it does work.
Priest.
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree. It kind of reminds me of being in like the military. Like you are a rank, you will only hang out with people of that rank. You actually aren't even allowed to hang out with someone that's lower ranking. If you're an officer, you would not be like, you can't like hang out with somebody of like lower rank. So I think it's like that's separation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe it works, and I believe that I remember one more example. I remember like the wives of the officers will all hang out. The wives of the officers even wouldn't hang out with the enlisted wives. And all of them like help each other out and like helped each other like prep their husband and do stuff like that. Stuff that I wouldn't be able to do if I was married to an enlisted person or enlisted soldier versus, a wife that's married to an officer. And they like all amongst each other helped each other like rank up too. So I believe it's good. Like yeah.
Now, to those of you that may be watching and want to join in, you are more than welcome to come in and chime in, but you have to be on camera. There's no exceptions to the rule. You got to be on camera, and you have 2 to 5 minutes to say what you need to say. I have my 4, and these are who I'm going to rock with until the show ends. But you are more than welcome to call in, unless it's somebody that I really know, like if Danny or Dee Dee or somebody like that. But if I don't know you like that, you're more than welcome to come in and say what you got to say for about 3 to 5 minutes. But anyway, I truly think that I think it's necessary, and I think, but see, when you separate, I think it's kind of in our community. Now I'm just talking about the Black community. I think it can be seen as, oh, you think you better, or you think you this, or you think you that, and I think if you are trying to get to a certain place in life, it is important that you surround yourselves with like-minded individuals. That does not necessarily mean you isolate yourself from those who may not be on the same level as you. But in order to get to where we need to get to, it is important, in my opinion, that we surround ourselves by individuals that are like-minded. And let me bring this back to the Tariq Nasheed point. Tariq Nasheed raised $1 million in 30 days. In order to do something like that, you have to be around individuals, and you have to develop an audience, and you have to develop a relationship with people to where they can trust you. It is not easy to raise $1 million in 30 days for your vision to have in order to get what you wanted to get done. Now he's building a museum. I have no problem with that. And people will say, well, why do we need a museum? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? And it's always the people that have done nothing, that aren't doing anything, that's talking about, well, why we need this, or who needs to do that, or like I was on a panel earlier, and shout out to Lady A from the Anti-Socially podcast. And there was this guy on there just saying, well, Tariq doing this and he don't need to be doing that. And I asked him, sir, simply put, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are your receipts? Okay. You feel like we need a supermarket? Have you started one? Have you started your campaign? Have you got your audience together and built an audience to where they're going to give you donations to build your supermarket? Oh, you want to build Wakanda? That's fine. Have you started your campaign to build Wakanda and to get all the vibranium and everything like that we going to need to build Wakanda, and all the planes and everything? Have you started it, sir? Have you started it? Have you executed anything? It's always the one that have done nothing that's always talking about what we should be doing, what we need to be doing. And that is why I truly believe in surrounding yourself by like-minded individuals, whether you are trying to be high value, whether you're trying to get a good job, whether you're trying to go on vacation, because it's been so many times you can plan a vacation with people and they flake out at the last minute because, people being people. But Chris, did I give you a chance to respond on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So let me get into the next part. Let me get into the next part of the video. Oh, I did it on the first time. God, shoot.
Is group acceptance so important? Because the next part, a network. You have to have a network of other high value men and others. This is another stumbling block for a lot of guys, for a lot of people, because they may have the money, even the length of time. They may look like they fit the group, but if they don't even have any other high value contacts or a network, a group of others, that person is going to be looked at with a side eye. Think of it like this. If you're sitting at the table with 10 high value men, and each of these 10 men has 50 contacts, that's 500 contacts. And you sit at the table and you have twice as much money as any other man on there, but you have 0 contacts. What can you effectively get done other than throw money at it? These other men can make phone calls, exert influence, move things to get things done. And you can only do what? You can only do what? Offer money and potentially feed off that network of contact. One thing high value men know and understand, that time is what's important. And building a network that actually works for you is extremely important. In some areas, it's called a book of business. A book of business can make you successful here, here, and here. Your contacts, your network is your net worth. You've heard this before, so you cannot underestimate how important having a network of high value men and other people is to your status as a high value man. After the network, we got to have the visibility.
All right, let's talk about that because I thought that was very important. I thought that was extremely important. Your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. Too many times. And see, this is where I struggle. Okay. Bear with me, family. This is where I struggle with the whole. Okay. I love us. I really do. I love us and I want to see us do well. But I am not a fan of handouts. And that's what I'm saying. If I have a network and I've been putting in the work, if Chris has a network, she's been putting in the work, Japri's been putting in the network, you've been putting in the network, King Gene, and then it's another person that tries to come in, they may offer one thing, but it's not really valuable to us. Or they may say, well, just because we're black, you need to let me in your network. And that is my biggest struggle. One of the biggest struggles that I have because I love us so much, but I don't do handouts. I just don't. I can't do it because I know where I come from. So what do you feel about the network thing? I'm going to start with King G.
I feel like that's it's important. It's important because I'll just give you a little anecdote. I know when I was working for the state, there was a particular lady that she was over the majority of the technology for people with disabilities. Mm-hmm. And from time to time, she would call up on me to do certain things for her. And so me and her developed a relationship and she became part of my network. So when I left the state, guess who was the first person to offer me a contract?
She was.
And see, that's why I have to agree with the network situation, because a lot of times, out of the blue, if you have a good network, people are proud of the work that you do. They know that you're a forthright individual. A lot of times your network will bring you more business. It'll bring you more resources based upon the fact that these people know you well and they trust your judgment. Mm-hmm. So I think a network is important.
Chris, you want to jump in on that action?
Yeah, I totally agree. To add also a network, you have to build social skills. And I think that's really, really important, especially for people who are so high. So when Kevin Samuels explains high value, typically he's excluding like athletes, entertainers, and he's focusing more so on like STEM people going on more a corporate route. And an interesting fact about men in particular, the smarter that they get, the better they are at math, the worse their social skills are. And so it's really important that they're focusing on their social skills and they're building out this network so they can keep linking with people and keep growing. Also, building out a network helps you be more efficient. One thing that men do very well that I think personally they do better than women, because women, they care too much about everyone's feelings. So they're like, oh, I don't want you to feel left out. I want you to feel involved in this. Even if you're not good at it, I still want you to feel involved. Whereas men are like, no, I'm good at this. You're good at that. I trust you. Go for it. If I need you, I'll let you know. And having that network allows you to be more efficient because you're getting to know people. You're able to understand their strengths and you're able to feed off of that. And that's very, very important to learn how to do as a man. And so building a network, I think, is a beautiful goal because you gain so many skills while doing so.
Caprice.
I totally agree with it. I don't think I have any room to say anything. No, but I agree. I agree. So do you think that this could apply like who you, not what you know, but who you know sometimes like it works out in your favor, kind of like your networking, is your net worth. Pretty much like who you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. I got a lot of opportunities based off who I knew. It wasn't necessarily I was the best at the job, but I knew the right person. And they let me in the gate. You ever watched I don't know if it was in the movie Good Hair or if it was in another documentary. I think it was in the Hidden Colors documentary. The Asians, when they come over here and they build their beauty supplies, they buy from their suppliers that look like them, the Asians. One of the guys who was also a supplier, black guy, he was like, what if I come to you and I give you a better deal? I'm going to give this to you half off. I'll sell it to you half off. And the Asian man told him no. And he said, why? He said, because it's not about the money. It's about the network and it's about the group. You dig what I'm saying? So I think that's why it is very, very important. It's about who you know. Yeah, I might not be the best at it, but I'm good enough to where I can get my foot in the door because of who I know. I mean, that's just what it is. Like if somebody, me and King Gene cool and, this guy may be thorough. The next guy may be thorough, but I know King Gene. That's my guy. I know he ride for me. I'm rocking with King Gene today. Sorry, sir, you out of a job. So, that, but that's just how it is. That's just how the world works. There are plenty of scenarios where you have CEOs who suck at the job and are not the best qualified, but because of who they knew, it was what it was. Let me see who did. I think all of y'all spoke, right? Is there anything anybody like to add before I go on to the next part of the video?
I tell you what, man, I feel kind of slighted by that statement that Chris made, even though it was absolutely true in my case. Look, brother, isn't kind of math that you can bring forth. I got you.
Man, I'm horrible at math. Maybe that's why I'm so good on the mic.
That's probably what it is. That's what it is.
I know how to count that paper, though.
Yeah.
I know how to count that paper. You dig? Let me get to some of these context. Let me get to some of these comments. Kevin Samuels is a member of a fraternity, so he was in a network at college. Yeah, okay. King Gene just said that. A sip of D. Shout out to a sip of D. Is this Danny's new channel? Okay. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Yes, group economics is everything in building wealth. Group economics, race first. All right. Cool. Let's get back to the video. All righty.
Guys, your income and your position has to be LinkedIn level. Think of it like this. This person says they're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. This person is head of thoracic surgery at Johns Hopkins. This person is VP of Mergers and Acquisitions at Bank of America. And then someone says, hi, I'm an entrepreneur. 3 of those 4 people at a glance, we can pretty much estimate who they are, what they do, and their relative importance in the overall socioeconomic structure. The 4th person, more information is needed. It's not enough visibility, not enough transparency. To be a high value man, it needs to be at a glance. Again, your position and your income. Guys, you may have a lot of money, but if it's coming from sketchy areas, no one can kind of understand where it's coming from. That does not give other high value men or even the public any kind of real confidence that you are who you say you are. Again, guys, it's about the market. It's what the world is thinking. They got to know at a glance that you are a high value man. And the sixth.
All right. Let me get y'all thoughts on that. Anybody want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I completely agree. I especially like the idea of other people having confidence in you based on how you present yourself. This is so right now we're hearing like the manosphere where there are men claiming to be alpha. But you can't claim to be alpha. What makes you alpha is that people view you as alpha because you've given them the confidence in you. You've allowed them, you've proven that they can trust you. And this is huge because people have to be able to identify who the leader is in their pack, if that makes sense. And you have to be able to show that. And so and gaining this confidence of those who surround you is very, very important. And so he put it in. I love the way that he puts this stuff because he makes it very simple. But that's basically what he's saying is if you're an alpha, people need to identify you as an alpha. You know, you don't just say that yourself. You need to make sure that people are able to easily identify you as an alpha, easily identify you as a leader, in order to be high value, in order to build your platform and your foundation.
Caprice.
Yes, I agree. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
But yes, I agree. Like the visibility of yourself needs to be of a what you say you are. I believe that you don't know yourself until somebody tells you. Like you won't notice what you do until somebody lets you know. Like the husband who will say like I'm this. I'm like, well, you say you're this, but you're showing me this, like that. So I believe that until somebody tells you, and of course, and this is somebody be able to see, the things that you bring, then.
So it's just like what he's saying. The market decides.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And how you present yourself too. I believe that falls into it, right? Like your appearance.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely your appearance.
I think so. King Gene.
Well, now the ladies have covered the main component, but I want to approach it from a different standpoint. And then too, now, if you are, as your priest put it, if you have already been told what you are, and you can identify with what you are, then those around you know what to expect from you. So if you say that you're an accountant, or if you say that you're a nurse, or if you say that you have some other specialty, then when areas come up that your expertise is needed, then I know who to go to. Mm-hmm. I can go to CJ and say, okay, CJ, my blood pressure is a little high, or I can come to you and say, okay, CJ, man, I'm having difficulty in this area medically, and I know that you can assist me. And that's all because we know what it is that you do. You're visible to that degree. And so it is no, there are really no surprises. And then if you think about it too, if I know where the specialty lies for each and every person that's in my network, then I don't have to worry about who to go to when a crisis arises. I can just, okay, this is her specialty, so let me put this on her plate and ask her, can she help me? So it makes the whole group more valuable when everyone clearly identifies who and what they are.
Yeah, as a licensed practical nurse, I try to tell people that in order to make the most money, you need to be the most valuable person on the team. The more skills that you have, the more valuable you are. If you are somebody that can only pass pills and take blood pressures, you're not considered that valuable. and you won't get paid as much as somebody who is IV certified, who can start an IV, who do no wounds, who can do all these other things, who knows trachs and vents and all that kind of stuff. At that point, you are considered valuable. That is why it's a hierarchy of different things. LPNs typically make less than registered nurses because registered nurses have a higher education, even though just because you are an LPN doesn't mean you are worse. But on paper, their education says different. You know what I mean? So therefore, they're going to get paid more. And just like Chris, you're an accountant. I'm sure if the skills that are acquired to be an accountant, if you put in so many years of work, somebody versus you versus an entry level accountant, y'all not going to be on the same level because you are considered more valuable. Your experience is more valuable, and what everything else that you bring to the table is more valuable. That's how life works. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Caprice, did you want to add to that?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Chris, anything
Um,
you want to add to that?
Well
Can you
said.
expect? Oh, go ahead. Okay. All right. Cool. I'll play the next part then. All right.
This part is probably my favorite part, guys. A high value man is useful to others and the group. A lot of times you hear people say, I don't want to be used. I don't want to be used. No, I want to be used. Why? Because that means I'm useful. High value men are in demand and useful. Their presence is felt when they're there, and their absence is felt when they're gone. That is how you
Ooh.
know you're really a high value man. How you can move things, your ability to influence things, and that is your relative usefulness. In economics, it's called utils. How useful are you to the group? Again, there's no high value homeless, neither are there any high value loners. If you have all these resources, all this stuff, but it's all hoarded for your own selfish ends, and no one can benefit from your money, your network, or anything you have, how valuable are you to the group, to
Mm.
the world, to other people? That's what this comes down to. High value men are in demand and useful to other people. As I said at the beginning, high value is all the rage, all the buzz right now. I didn't make it, but I want to clarify what I mean when I'm talking about it.
All right. So that's pretty much it, man. The damn goat, if you ask me. At least one of them. Any thoughts on what he said about the last one being valuable to the group and to others in your circle?
I think we all agree. I think we were kind of like getting there when you were talking about that last point and the point before that. And that just pretty much just sealed everything together.
All right. King?
But I'm getting the feeling here. Now I know he's describing a high value man. I know that's what he's describing. But for every point, except for even the first point, it would appear that these qualities that he's encouraging men to take on are not just for high value men. I mean, it would be beneficial for any man, right, to be in the mindset of making as much as he could. Let me refer to my notes: being consistent, right, being a part of a group that will push him forward, having a network of individuals, having visibility in the sense that he has already been told who he is, so he can identify to anyone else who he is, and then being a utility, being useful to the people around him and the people in his group. Any man would benefit from those. Any man would.
Yeah. But I think the thing is a lot of people don't want to spend that time and energy to put in that work. And therefore that's what makes them unvaluable. Um, let me see who wants to add to that.
Yeah, everything he said basically is just what should be the building blocks of like a healthy masculine man who's producing, full testosterone pretty much. Like referring back to my notes, when it comes to money from a femininity perspective, that's provision, and then length of time of like performance. There we're talking about discipline. With discipline comes stability, which is important to have a feminine woman because she needs to know that her lifestyle is going to be maintained. And then we're getting into group acceptance is her status, how do people look at her? As well as just your efficiency with your network, your confidence, your ability to be viewed as an alpha by your wife and by people who surround you. And then when it comes to utility, what's so important about that in a relationship, I think this one's important for women to understand, is that you have to make sure that your man feels useful and that you show him gratitude, and you make sure that you show him the value that he adds to your life, because that's what builds a masculine man, is knowing that he's adding value. And I like that Kevin Samuel said that you as a man, you can't do this selfishly. You have to basically be selfless as a man, because even though you're sacrificing so much, you're seeing the value in all these other sectors. And that is what's helping you to grow. And that's what's helping you to build a healthy, well-balanced relationship, and then later on family. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Anybody else?
Yes, I think that was well said, Christina. Like, for example, like, like tonight, even though this is, of course, my husband's son, it's not like babysitting or anything, but like, I gave Adam, to our son's name is Adam. I gave him to his dad, and he's like, playing with him and watching him while I do this, and I sent a quick text, saying like, thank you, for taking over Adam while I do this. And it's just like, showing gratitude, like Christina said, and showing that he is needed. And I appreciate that.
Ladies, gratitude will get you a long, long, long way, especially with a man.
Yes, sir.
It is nothing better than hearing thank you and I appreciate you. So and oh my God, I am a firm believer that sometimes you can talk yourself right out of a blessing. The words thank you and I appreciate you can get you so far in life. You really have no idea, because a lot of the times the men are not looking for your money. They're looking for your feminine energy and gratitude. Don't care how much you make. It's not about that. We just want to feel like you, man, you just don't know. You don't know. But let me ask the lady something. Do you think it is difficult? And I know, Caprice, you're married, but do you think it's difficult dealing and dating a high value man because of his purpose and how much he is on his purpose and how his purpose comes first? Is that a difficult situation?
I believe that. So I believe that being a wife is a skill. I believe and also a husband. You are taught to be a wife and a husband. It doesn't come naturally. The elders usually teach you these roles and what to do and what to, But if you don't have that, it could be hard. If you didn't have that, it could be hard emotionally, because us women, of course, we want attention. We want to feel like, adored and stuff like that. And we want to be with our significant other like 24 hours a day if we wanted to. Emotionally, it could be hard because you yearn for that closeness. But if you know your role and you know the sacrifices that your significant other is making and the benefits that it comes with, and just seeing that person like in action, I believe it's a definite turn on. See my husband in action, I'm like, oh whoa, came out like, okay, okay, it's definitely a turn on, because we like to see that, he's like going and he's like in action. So emotionally it could be hard, in the beginning. I'm not even gonna lie, it definitely could be hard, but once you if you have somebody like in your corner, like that's like an elder or somebody who's like, has much wisdom to get you through that and like snap you back, then I believe it's doable.
Chris?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think where it can get hard is if the two people don't understand their roles with each other, that level of interdependence that's necessary.
Speech a lot. Sorry. My bad.
No worries. At the level of interdependence that's necessary to keep relationship going. Like if, for example, I think where it gets difficult is that, the man is very, very focused on his purpose, but he forgets that his wife needs a certain level of validation, which we talked about a couple of days ago or yesterday on my live. You have to make sure that you're expressing where your partner adds value into your life and vice versa. And I think that's where it gets really, really difficult, is when they start to ignore each other's value, and then they feel like they're not being noticed, like your priest said. So I think it can be difficult, but I feel as though once we start to understand how the male and the female work together and how they kind of feed off each other, it's a solution to that potential problem.
I'm gonna pass it to King Gene in 1 second, but as somebody who works a lot of hours a week, who's working 60 to 70 hours a week, and then coming home doing this YouTube thing and studying and everything like that, I do realize that it can take away from my personal time with my lady. That is what it takes to be with a high value man, or if that's the lifestyle that you want. Kevin Samuels made a statement to me that is so true. He said, ladies, your high value man doesn't belong to you. He belongs to the world. And not in the sense that he's not, coming home to you, but in the metaphorical sense, like he belongs to the world. You know what I'm saying? That is the cost of being with somebody who is deemed as valuable. He is not just yours. You are going to share him no matter what. And you have to be able to either accept that or not, because that man's drive, his and his purpose is always going to be there. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? So either you learn to accept it or you don't. And like that was very important to me. Sippa D says, wow, I never saw wife as a skill, but I do understand after conversation with women as of late. Absolutely. I think to be a good wife, that's a
Oh
skill.
yeah, just like over 100 duties that like that it comes with being a wife, and being a wife is not for the weak. I definitely tell
A
you that.
a good wife.
A
Being
good wife.
a good wife is
A
not
good
for the
wife.
weak. And this is why I tell certain people, like, you really like, people think that women who are with men who make a lot of money, they think their life is so easy because they only see what's being put out on the outside. It is not. I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's definitely not easy. There are times where women are very lonely. You dig what I'm saying? She has to take care of the house. She has to be faithful. Not saying that being faithful should be super hard, but
Yeah,
you know
well,
what I'm saying? There are times where I know that my girl wants attention, and I just can't simply give it to her because I'm building. This is just what I do.
I don't know if I shared this with you guys. I think maybe it was with another podcast, but maybe last week. So because my husband does like a bunch of stuff. So he on his one of something under his belt, he does like DJing, and he partnered with one of his friends and one of his partners on, not friend, but like a partner, and they have like a club. They have a club, like an actual club. So you can imagine how many like nights he's not home. And I remember like last week I was changing my our son's diaper. I just started crying. I just started boohoo crying, just crying, crying, crying. I was like, dang, like I really miss my husband. I feel like I haven't like spent time with him like in such a long time. And I just started like crying. I'm just like, and I just, wipe my tears. I'm like, okay, I understand, because the night before he didn't come till 3, so I was asleep. Then that same day he went to his day job, and then he had to go and DJ, and so we didn't, we don't see him, and I mean, like, I don't, of course, like our son is like super excited to see him, but to me, like, I don't get to see him sometimes. And it's sometimes that he can like maybe stay at home, but then he's always like a yes person to, like, he always say, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be there. I'm like, why do you have a question? What about me? But, he explains stuff to me like, what about me? Why didn't you tell me? Yes, but I know that, he's out, making money and doing things that he needs to be done, that need to be done.
I think. Go ahead, King G. I was gonna let you speak. My bad. Go ahead, King G.
Well, I will say this, Japri, so I want you to keep this in mind. Regardless of what he's doing, regardless of what responsibilities he has to take on, he genuinely loves you and his son. We carry that with us. I know When my youngest daughter was born, I was at the height of working for the state, and I was, listen, 6 to 7 hours, just like CJ was mentioning. But for just to speak for a moment for the men, we carry that with us now. You all are at the front of our minds, even though we have so many things that we have to do. The focus is you all. We're building, we're on our purpose, but the reason why we're doing it. And I remember I used to sit at my desk and stare at the picture of my family. When times got tough, when things were a bit too difficult to deal with, I would stare at a picture of my family and reinforce in my mind that I can do this because they need it. So whatever I have to do, whatever I have to sacrifice for them, I'm going to do this because they need it. And then another thing too, you keep in mind, he's doing all this now, and when it comes time for y'all to retire, y'all gonna be gravy. Y'all gonna be good to go because he's gonna be to put everything in place for y'all. So all
Mhm.
of the time that maybe he didn't get to spend with you, maybe you'll think about that when you on the yacht sipping champagne and looking at clear blue water.
Absolutely, because I take the time to. I think it's about balance. You know what I'm saying? You have to. I think that's one of the many challenges of being a man who is on his purpose, a man that's being on his grind. Because if you have a woman that is good to you and good for you, you have to balance your relationship. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I make it a point to try to do these vacations monthly, because out of the other times of the month when I'm grinding, now it's time for us to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Those are the benefits. And I think a lot of women look from the outside that's in that are with bums and broke dudes. So I asked them a question: would you rather have a man that's sitting up under you all day, or would you rather have a man that's grinding? You're either gonna have time or you're gonna have paper. Which one do you want? And you better make that choice now. Because you got to figure out which one do you want. And these men are a dime a dozen. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of men like that out here. So you better figure out, if you get one, you better hold on to them. I'm telling you that right now, because those women. One thing I notice about the internet: the women who are winning, who are with these type of men, they don't talk much online. You know what I'm saying? They don't do a lot of yelling and a lot of screaming. They're the quiet minority,
Mhm.
I like to say. You don't really hear from them. It's always the ones who are unhappy with a lot to say, or who can't find quality men with a whole lot to say, that are upset. But the women who are winning, these ladies and these wives of these successful men, they're usually very quiet. One person I like to point out is LeBron James' wife. I don't even know what she sounds like. I've never ever heard this woman speak. I mean, I'm
As
for
me.
real. I'm serious. Like, I've never ever heard her speak. I don't know what she even sounds like. You know what I'm saying? And every time I see her, she's always by his side. That's what men want. Now, I don't know how she is when they get home, but the public perception, she ain't trying to be in the spotlight. She want to sit back. Her son finna go to the NBA. She is set for the rest of her life. So why would a woman like that even have to say anything? Why would she have to say anything? She literally pushing out NBA players. Like, come on. Like, what like, and I can respect that. I can respect that. See, LeBron is the definition of what having discipline looks like. We
Mhm.
were referring to the trash earlier today. Look at LeBron James. LeBron James has been in the spotlight for the better part of 20 years, right? You've never heard one scandal about him. That is called having D discipline. Even if LeBron did have some sort of side chick, you ain't never heard about it.
Mhm.
You ain't never heard about it. Look
Mhm.
at Obama. And I'm not a fan of Obama, but I gotta put some respect on his name when it comes to having discipline, to being a man of integrity. You never heard nothing about any woman claiming that Obama done touched me, that I'm
Mhm.
a side chick, that I'm this and I'm that. You ain't never ever heard that. That is called having discipline. If it was so, you would never ever hear about it. She'll be dead first. This is not a game. You're not gonna mess up the bag nor the brand. This is why I be trying to say, like, why y'all guys can't learn from people like LeBron, the people that you know what I'm saying, that you don't hear nothing bad about, but is the best NBA player on the planet and does a lot for his community. You dig what I'm saying? Like I just don't get it. The lack of discipline is amazing to me because like I'm sorry, but I'm not putting my brand on the line for 40 seconds of coochie. It's not worth it to me of outside coochie. Now this woman finna live off and take away from my family, all because I couldn't be disciplined or put a condom on or something like that. That's crazy to me.
Mhm.
Don't make no sense. And this is what I think Kevin Samuels refers to when he says high value is about having discipline and integrity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And since we talking about that, I got to get the ladies' thoughts because me and King Gene kind of discussed it earlier. Kevin Samuels brought up the point of hiring escorts. He's been known to say that he has hired an escort before. And the way things are moving now with a lot of these young men that are getting caught up in these situations, how do you feel about him saying that you might be better off hiring a high value, like a high end escort, not the streetwalkers, back page, and all that crap, but a woman that you pay a nice little chunk of change to, and she provides you the experience that you're looking for, and she provides you discretion. How do you feel about that? If you had a son, let me give you a scenario. If you had a son, right? Because Japreet, you have a son. Let's just say your son grows up and becomes a very successful basketball player. He's 18. He's getting scouted. He's finna go to the league. Got a $42 million contract guaranteed. The women is on him. The women is on him. They trying to get him. They've been scouting him since he was 16. You know how they is. Would you have a problem if one of the males in his life said, "Listen, I'm trying to stop what's finna happen. I really don't want this to happen because I see what's coming. If he wants to get, if he wants to do manly things and do what he needs to do as a man, let's hire this little chick, get her to sign an NDA, throw a couple dollars and send her about her way." Would that be a problem with you?
Mhm. It's I would turn a blind eye. I guess that's a man thing. I was just talking to my husband about that. I mean, I would just turn a blind eye to it. I mean, that's like it's a man thing, you know.
But as a mother looking, as a mother looking, seeing these people, seeing these women trying to vulture your son, how would what direction do you think you would sway? I know it's a man thing, but as a mother, as a protective lioness of her cub, how would you feel?
Yeah, I wouldn't want those women to like trap him or try to, do the things that they do. So I mean, I would tell him to, listen to the wise person that, is directing you. I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't want him to fall into that, that hole of, some of the guys do with the women that are trying to like they make it their goal. So I would, I'm, I wouldn't say that I would have a problem with it.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I just wanted to get your genuine, authentic answer. And no matter
Yeah,
what you had said, it wouldn't, that's fine.
it wouldn't matter anyway.
I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't matter, but I'm just saying, I mean, that's your thought. So go ahead, Chris. What about you? What do you think? If I know you don't have kids, but how would you feel about that?
I think about the same. Like I'd be, for me, I agree with Dee Dee made a comment, or I think is it Dee Dee or is that Danielle? A
That's
sip of
Danielle.
D.
I think that's
Danielle.
Danielle.
Danielle made a comment and she said, "Wouldn't a wife be more valuable?" I think I would push him, like, why don't you just get married? Don't get married to any of those hood rats, but here are some nice women you can marry, and then you have, I guess, access to the access that you want.
But
Let's say that wasn't an option for
you think
him.
18?
Hmm?
You think he want to get married at 18?
Oh, he's 18?
Yeah, he's young. Like that was the scenario I gave. A young 18-year-old with $42 million.
Okay, so Yeah, if we make it simple, let's say he's not getting married at 18, then yes, I would prefer him be with somebody who I know is guaranteed safe. They're probably going to recommend, or it's probably going to be a rule that he asks for protection. They're going to have discretion. They're not going to trap him. Like it's a good way for me to say, son, I've taught you these things. I taught you what to look out for. You found a woman who's checking these boxes. You don't want to marry her because you're too young or whatever it may be. I like how you think, but if you go through with it, just don't tell me. But I think this is
She said, "Don't tell me."
yeah, I think this is a better option than you laying up with a
That'll make you cuss for real. King Gene, what do you think? As a
Well,
father,
now,
what would you do?
I have to agree with Chris, because now here's the thing. We've already seen an example of this. Was it PJ and Brittany Renner?
Yep.
So we're talking about young men who are coming into quite a bit of vast resources, and you have people that are intentionally preying upon these young men. So the picture that you painted, CJ, is something that's actually happening. And so, in that particular instance, you have to do what's necessary to protect yourself and what your future might be. So I agree with Chris. As long as you don't tell me what's going on, man, I'm good with you. Just don't tell daddy, because I don't look, man. Hey, what you do when you leave away from around me, long as you safe, I'm cool. But don't come back telling me what's going on, man. I'm good.
Hey, tell me. I need to know.
Sound like my husband. You tell me.
We need to secure that bag. Listen, because I know what an 18-year-old man think like, and I tend to think like, had I been making the money I make now at 18 years old, how reckless I would have been.
Ooh, boy.
I would have been reckless at 18 years old, and that's why I think God blessed me with where I am now, because at 18 years old, I probably wasn't mature enough to handle that. I would be out here reckless. I'll probably have a gang of kids by now. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm a father, and if he can't, if I saw what was going on, I'd be like, look here, my son is one of the hottest commodities on the planet. He has a lot of money on the table. Son, this is what we're going to do. I can't obviously make him, but I'll be training him. This is what we're going to do. I know you're an 18-year-old man. I know you have urges and needs. Listen here, we're going to go to Vegas. You're going to pick you a chick out. What you like? This her? We about to sign these NDAs. You're going to get her money and send her on her way. We are protecting the bag at all costs. I need to know. Give it here. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, you? Come on. All right. Sign this. Thank you. So, yeah, I need to know all that.
Yeah,
All of
because at 18, I believe that they're still kids. Like it's still a baby. Even at 21, I feel like they should. I mean, so if he's like 18, if he's like in the NBA or any type of like
Right.
league, I'm not really too shabby with the sports, but I believe that he should have like a little entourage, or like or his mother and father can maybe hopefully follow him or something, because at 18, most guys are 18, but their brain is probably like 15, and they do so that's still a baby, and even at 21, I consider 21-year-olds like still children. They should still be at home, for guys and for ladies. But I did want to respond to, I think, a sip of D. She said something about what did she say? That a wife is of a higher value is better, pretty much. Yeah, I remember my mentor saying that being a wife, like you are supposed to help your husband like make more money, pretty much. Like you would network for him. Like, so if I'm in a group of friends of like wives, and maybe her husband is like the CEO of Amazon or something, I'm a network for him, and that's something. And also like I'm helping him like cooking, having dinner ready for him, having his lunch, having his clothes, ironing out, and just stuff like that. And so I believe that it's much easier to feel like you're a part of like his success obviously because you're his wife, but because you've kind of like, you've attributed to the things that, like kind of helped him because with organization and stuff like that. So I remember my mentor did say that wives do help their husbands make more money. Also, the cost of living. Like I had to like stop maybe wanting things and wanted to buy things, and we just had to like downgrade a little bit so he could be able to save money. He can be able to pay all the bills because we downgraded, stuff that we don't need. It's only that we want. So that's why I kind of don't really agree with that $10,000 like a month that Kevin Samuel said. As long as like he's able to pay all the bills and still be able to save some, because we can downgrade because we had a 3-bedroom. Now we downgraded to a 2-bedroom. We need a 3-bedroom. We only have one baby. So we downgraded and able to save more money. And yeah, so just stuff like that. And then instead of 2 cars, 1 car, but of course we have another car, but we paid it off. But like stuff like that, like that's helping him. Yeah.
CJ.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask Japri a question?
Be my guest.
Japri, do you cook for your husband?
Yes.
Okay. Now I've been wanting to say this to you for a while because it seems like you're that kind of wife. Never underestimate the importance of that particular function that you play.
Mm-hmm.
To have food cooked with love from the person that you love the most is the most motivating thing I have ever felt in my entire existence. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to work and say, hey man, you like them TV dinners you eating? My wife fixed me this. You see how this chicken cooked and it's all the way done, brother? You see that brown on that chicken? That crust? Huh? You see this?
Mm-hmm.
And so it like I said, it's the most motivating thing. And I've had a lot of things to motivate me. I'll be honest with you. Attaining certain titles and things like that. But the care and the concern that a wife can show her husband is the single most motivating thing that he'll ever experience in life. So I say hats off to you. I'm gonna give you your flowers while you're here with me.
Thank you so much.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And like on this channel too, I try to tell a lot of dudes that I try to give nursing from a perspective of a black male that other people may not give. So like I got a homie, Najir. Najir is 23 years old, young, no kids, nice looking guy, got the whole world ahead of him. And I tell guys on this channel that we not NBA players, but we're some of the next best thing to them, because a lot of people know that nurses have the potential to earn a lot of paper. The average nurse, if a young 18-year-old man is coming out of high school, fresh out of high school, going to nursing school, it roughly takes them 11 months to finish, right? The average LPN makes between $60,000 to $70,000 per year. Can you imagine what a young 18-year-old male who's single, and I know a lot of y'all were saying get significant others. At 18 years old, I was not thinking about no wife at all. Like I was not thinking about no wife at 18 years old. This is why a lot of men get married early at older ages. I can only imagine, and like I said, that's why I said earlier, like I can only imagine being 18 years old making $60,000 to $70,000 a year with no kids and no responsibilities. I would be reckless. So that's why I be trying to give guys game, like especially to all you young nurses, doctors, lawyers, all y'all that's making some paper right now, especially the young ones, my fellas. Like y'all have to be careful with who you're sticking your stuff in. You dig? You gotta be careful. And I know Didi has said condoms break. Hold on, because it was some interesting comments. Let me get to some of these comments, because it's been some interesting comments. Let me see.
I agree with your comment, Jeffrey.
Let me see. Let me get to. Okay. All right. Ann Key says, as a woman, I will make sure that he has sex education, including the types of women who are out there on the prowl and the use of birth control and the potential STDs. Shout out to the Plan B pill. Um, Sipper D says, I need to know too. Later is too late. Um, Keyhole 432 says, if he's not ready to marry, that can be a viable option. No strings attached and no children out of wedlock. Sipper D says, condoms break. Sipper D also said, absolutely, Japrice. And Key responded to a Sipper D, condoms break, but they are better than nothing. Or some woman telling him to trust it. Lord have mercy. Fellas, let me tell you something right now. Don't you ever believe a woman when she says, I know my body. Okay? I could tell you the amount of dudes who have gotten finessed off a chick who, and no disrespect to y'all ladies on the panel, but I'm just saying, like, I can tell you the amount of dudes who have gotten finessed by the bag that say, oh, I know my body. I know when I'm ovulating. No, sir. You wear your protection like you're supposed to do. Okay? Don't give me that crap. She said, yes, that's why I don't agree with escorts. Have a significant other is the way to go. But a lot of these young dudes ain't thinking like that. A lot of these young dudes ain't trying to get married that early. 18, man, come on, 22. Well, I just entertained it at like 28. Just started to entertain it at like 28, 29. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Entertain it. I wasn't thinking about that stuff, especially that young. Come on, man. King Gene and Japrice are giving my wifely duties life. Thank you. I don't hear how important it is from anyone other than my husband. That's a fact. That's what's up. Yeah. Shout out to all the wives and all the long-term girlfriends doing their thing right now.
Shout out.
That's doing their thing, because not everybody subscribes to the idea of marriage. So I have to put some respect on their name too. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that are in successful long-term relationships that have been together for 30 some odd years and never signed a marriage license. Now, I'm not knocking marriage at all, but I have to put some respect on their name as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's pretty much all we have for tonight, but I do appreciate everybody rocking. Is there anything anybody else would like to talk about, like to add to the conversation? I'm very open right now, but that's pretty much all I had. But if y'all would like to talk about something else, we can have an open discussion right now.
I did want to say something if you don't mind. Um,
Go ahead.
okay. I remember you said something about how people were had something to say or questioning Tariq Nasheed about the museum, like, oh, why we need a museum, blah, blah, blah. And my response to that, I'm not so sure if you've seen the comments, I said people need to get out of 2.5 radius. And what I mean by that, the 2.5 is most people in the hood or in inner cities only go 2.5 out of where they live, east, west, south, and north. You know, they don't see anything. So their level of thinking is not of a person that has been out of that radius. Most, if we think about like our grandmas and our great grandmas, like my great grandma, she hasn't been nowhere besides Slauson and Crenshaw. That's where she used to live. My mother's mom's mom. She didn't know anything. She only knew what was her surroundings and what her environment was. So we get a lot of pushback from our community because they don't really see anything. They don't really know too much besides within their 2.5 radius. So that was just something that I wanted to say about, that.
King Gene, you want to respond to that real quick?
Absolutely, I agree. And like Dupree said, because they have a limited radius that they travel within, then their life experience is kind of subdued. See, there's a lot of things that I'm not aware of. And one of the things that as a community we are not aware of is where we came from. Now, there's a few of us that have nothing to DNA and can trace back to what region we are. We came from in Africa, but a shared history is something that we're missing. And anything that adds to that shared history is something that we all need to advocate for. Because if you can understand where you came from, if you understand who you are as a people, then that gives you a foundation to build on. If you don't really know where you came from, you have some idea. Well, maybe I'm from Cameroon, or maybe I'm from South Africa. I don't know exactly where, but if you can narrow it down, then it gives you a better definition of who you are and where you came from. I think that's important for anybody.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, knowing your starting point is the only way that you can measure your progress. You have to be able to see where you started in order to know where you have gone and then where you can continue going. And then also to add, you mentioned something earlier, CJ. I think you mentioned that when people grow, other people in the community will say, "Oh, well, now you think you're better. Now you think you're better than me." Oh, you're talking about at the network. And one way, when I was doing inner work for my femininity program, one thing that they have us practice is they remind us that the mind is a projector, it's not a camera. And so what they're doing is they're projecting their feelings about you onto you. And so if they're saying you think that you're better, they actually think that you're better. If any piece of their reality, if they think, it can be negative stuff too, like they think that you're ugly, you're not ugly, but they're projecting their reality onto you. And so it's a very interesting way to think about it, because we take it personally, but when you just acknowledge that that's just how they are seeing things, because their experience, are kind of creating a completely different lens than what you have. You're able to kind of bypass those weird comments and just think and just accept them and keep it moving. And so I thought that was good that you brought that up.
Now, Chris, I'm not frowning at you now. I'm not. I know it's probably distracting while you were talking. I'm making faces, but these comments is getting to be crazy.
I actually have. Yeah, Christina, what you were saying, I forgot. I was reading that same comic, Missy King Jean, so I was sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, absolutely, Christina. I've been said that to me. I don't know how many times that has been said to me, that I think I'm better now that I'm married, now that I'm this, now that I'm that, as if like even before I got married, I was never the type of um, young lady as most of the people that I went to high school with. So even from high school, I used to have this problem. I had went to a school in Chino Hills, which is like the suburbs. Then I had switched schools and I went to a school that was like in more like the inner city. I went to like a really small school. Um, the amount of like drama that I experienced at that school, because they said that I talk white, or I think that I'm better than them. And I've been told that since I was in 12th grade, that I think that I'm better than them. And I remember on Zoom, we had like a little class reunion thing on Zoom. And after they said that to me, and I got out and I was like, because a lot of the students didn't like me for whatever reason. They said that, oh, because you thought you were better. And I was like, how did you think that? Because I've wanted to make friends. I wanted to be you guys' friends, but it's because I didn't talk like you guys, or I didn't do the things that you guys are doing, drinking and smoking at 17, 16. I didn't do those things. So that, they thought that I was better than them. And even now, some of the things that I get when my comments on my DM, like, you think you're better because now, but I believe that we should all be better than what we were yesterday. We should all be, there should be no way that you're doing the same thing that you were doing 10 years ago. You should be always elevating. And it's not anything wrong with me telling you, hey, this is the way to go. It's not that I'm saying that I'm above you or you're beneath me. It's saying like, hey, this is the road that I took to get to where I am. You should follow it because this is what works. It's not that it's not anything about that, I'm superior or anything like that. And I really don't understand why people say that, like, especially in our community. Like, it really bothers me so much. It really bothers me so much. Like when I was talking about being feminine and being like how to be a wife and stuff like that, I think I started talking about maybe 4 years ago. Even family, like they will call my mom and tell my mom, this is what your daughter's posting. She will call me and say, well, how about you just don't post that stuff? I'm like, really, mom? No, I'm going to say, I'm trying to teach, these young girls on what they're doing. And I remember like my family would like say stuff. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, like, why would you? I don't know. It was just, it's just crazy.
I think that's just insecurity, honestly. When people, it's hard for people to feel happy for you when they are not happy with themselves. It's very, very hard. And that's why, like, I tell my girl a lot that it's like the reason certain people don't rock with you no more is because the one, they have a perception of the life that you're living because they see you have an individual that cares about you and do things for you that they're probably not getting. But more importantly, it is difficult for somebody to be truly happy for you if their life is not going the way it wants to go.
Mhm.
People have to be happy with themselves, and I think that's why that's always been a problem in our community. I think it's a lot of pride in our community. It's a lot of distrust in our community because if I saw somebody winning, if I saw King Gene and he's winning, I'm gonna reach out to that brother. I'm gonna say, King Gene, listen, bro, you winning, my guy, and I'm trying to be like you. What kind of work do I got to put in? Can we talk? Can we have a consultation? Can we do something? I'm trying to win. I don't want to be like this no more. I'm tired of being a loser. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why another female can't come to Japrice and say, well, Japrice, you got a husband that love you, that take care of you. You got a family. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no baby daddies running around here and all that kind of stuff. What can I do? Let me get up under you and get up under your learning tree and see what I can do so I don't have to be a victim of the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important that we had these conversations with each other so we can learn to be better. Chris, you want to add to that? Because I do want to address this comment.
Okay.
We can start addressing the comment because I'm ready for that. Let's do it. Let's hit the ground running. We got.
Can I ask what's the? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me let you read it because I'm trying. What's the Dusties? Dusties?
I'm gonna go back to the original comment and I'll start from there. All right. Mary Grace says, I actually have a much different experience. Many Dusties try to trap successful women by getting them pregnant. This issue hasn't been addressed. She has a much different experience. Japri said that's the minority. D says CJ speaks on that too. And I do. I speak on that a lot, actually. I tell ladies all the time to beware. There is a thing called professional baby daddies out here. Dusties that will try to trap you in order to keep you. I mean that's nothing new. That's been happening for decades, but I think it's more publicized when it happens with men because it may not happen as often in the public spotlight. You don't see, a lot of women getting finessed like that. But shout out to what was Britney Spears' ex-husband name? Kevin Federline. Shout out to Kevin Federline who did it perfectly. I'm not gonna say he finessed her. She was just crazy and he benefited. So it was what it was. But, he got that paper, took them kids and did what he was supposed to do. I have to pop my collar to a player. Shout out to Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson got to pay up all this paper. So I don't know if he trapped her, but, yeah, that happens. Nobody's denying that. What do y'all think about that?
So that's what Dusties. That's like a guy that tries to like a.
It's,
I'm trying to figure out what is Dusty. Like, is that Dusty? Like Dusty?
A dusty is what we would call a deadbeat. It's like the new word for deadbeat is a dusty. So like you get women pregnant, you don't really work, you feed off of them.
Oh wow, Dusty.
Chris didn't know what a pick me was yesterday.
Really? Oh, you guys had a conversation about pick-me's yesterday?
We can talk about that too for a little bit. I got a little bit of time.
Yeah, I've been called a pick-me for so long. Like, yeah, who doesn't want to be picked? When you're at a basketball game, get ready to get picked for a team. And you're like, pick me. Who doesn't want to be chosen?
Who don't want to be picked? No, because Chris had her live yesterday. I said, Chris, I know they call you a pick me. I know they do because of some of the things that you say. But we'll talk about that in a second. Any of y'all want to address what Mary Grace had to say?
I got to. I've been holding it out of respect for the ladies. I got to.
Go ahead.
Mary Grace, tell me what group or what statistic are you referring to? Chris, Japrice, I apologize, okay? Are you referring to the group where there's 80% of Black women who are having children out of wedlock without a husband? We are individuals who make use of the child support system more than anyone else, food stamps, government aid. What statistics are you referring to? And now, if you are outpacing us, which evidently that's what you believe. Are you outpacing us in the things that matter? Are you holding careers or are you holding jobs? So these are the things we have to talk about, because now once you start using the term dusty, now I'm offended. Now I take issue with that, because my platform and CJ platform is geared toward helping men be the best version of themselves. So now if you're going to go around calling men dusties and you're not putting forth sufficient effort to find individuals that don't meet that criteria, how can you complain?
Mm.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
y'all. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead, CJ.
you good, King James. Hey, keep going if you got more to add.
I can't do it, man. Because here's the thing. For me, as a individual that's part of the community, if you're going to be critical, then the criticism needs to be constructive. And throwing around names is not constructive. Quoting fake statistics is not constructive. When are we going to get to the heart of the matter? The heart of the matter is we both need to work together to rebuild our community, and we can't do it with that kind of rhetoric. It's just not going to work.
Okay, so I didn't see this comment. Okay, so I'm gonna start from Mary. She said you don't have to deal with dusties. Reads like you have issues recognizing them. Let them talk, as their conversation usually exposes them. Mary said Adjure Priest is actually not the minority. Statistically, we outpace dusties in every socioeconomic category. Dusty BM, I'm guessing that means dusty black men, are not the exception. They are the rule. Oh, all right. Okay. Most of our people thrive off negativity. And key bottom line, black men collectively are not progressing in this society at the same rate that we are. Thus, we are told to seek lower level black men, not on our level. Mary, I would love for you to cam up so we can all have this conversation, if you would. I would love, please cam up. And
One,
it's not going to be disrespectful, but you're making some strong statements, and you should cam up. Let's see. Mary Grace, I believe what you are saying is true. That is why you hear Kevin Samuel say that high value men and black men don't care about your educational accomplishments. This guy is giving off 100% dusty energy, and I bet that he doesn't have a college degree.
a
Shane,
college
so
degree doesn't mean anything. And also, one thing is, which I don't like I really despise, like I really do not like this. Like I strongly dislike this. As when as if we're talking about one gender on a topic, someone always has to come and say, but men do this. But we're not talking about men. We're talking about women at this point. I mean, at this moment. If you be patient enough and have some discipline and control and learn how to control your mouth, you might be able to listen that we might get some men at that moment. Like I really dislike that when people like to throw other things out there, like, okay, we're not talking about right that what you're saying may be true, but right now it's probably dismissive because we're not talking about that right now, you know? And this is
Well,
well,
oh, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
so multiple things. So number one, like I said, people project their reality onto you. She said that in her experience, she's only dealt with dusties. In her world, they're the rule, not the exception. Honestly, if the dusties are coming to you, that's the less that are on my block. So that sounds great. That's my emotional answer. But I think
I think we almost got a cuss word.
no. I think what's important to note here is that not everything she's saying is false. There are lots of men in jail, unfortunately. Black men have, I think, recently started moving more into the middle class. Black women, when it comes to college degrees, I think we're enrolled in colleges more than men, but I don't think we're necessarily graduating more than they are. So not everything she's saying is completely false, but the issue is that it's the symptom, it's not the problem. Everything that she's describing, these are all mostly issues that have been created by women, by single women who couldn't control who they were sleeping with, single women who were sleeping with men who did not show them that they were providers, who did not show them that they were protectors, who did not show them that they were masculine with their actions. And so, yeah, not everything she's saying is completely false, but the issue is that No one's socializing you to date a Dusty. You're attracting Dusties. The issue is that unfortunately our world, because we're not having, because conversations like this are being limited, we're creating more of them because people think that the way they're living their lives currently is okay and it's conducive to our growth or productive to our growth. But yeah.
And see again, Mary won't cam up. So that right there, when you can make strong statements like that and not come and prove your point on camera, it kind of makes you invalid. But for the sake of the conversation and because we're running up the numbers for monetization, we'll keep it going. I'm here for the BS. Um, hold on, I'm looking at the comments. But Mary, let me ask you something. I'm really thinking that she's probably from that whole pink pill,
You know it.
uh,
You know
crystalline cares and community. King Jean, she might have followed you over here or something like that.
it. Didi say she a troll. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree too.
because
Because there's no one on the panel that
that's,
fits
that's
the stereotype of the average black person. There's
so.
no one on this panel.
And this whole episode is about redefining black men, redefining black culture. And see now you're see shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Sign language. So this is exactly what Kevin Samuels talks about. You know, the first thing this woman brought up was her degrees. You know, no, she never answered if she was single or not. So she's trolling, and we welcome the trolls because this is see. I'm gonna have to let y'all know the bigger that the platforms get, the more trolls that are going to come. So y'all have to be ready for it. I've gotten the channel taken down because trolls didn't like what I was doing. So y'all just prepare for the smoke. The more visible you start to become, it's going to happen. Um, but yeah, so we're not gonna continue to let Mary disrespect. She's been blocked. So there we go. It was entertaining for a minute, but we got her the F out of here. This is not fresh and fit. Okay.
Not at all.
We do not entertain the foolishness. Any woman that I bring on this panel is a woman of grace, elegance, feminine. And any man that I bring on this panel is somebody that is on his grind and his purpose. I do not benefit off bringing trash on my platform, nor Dusties. Dusties exist, but there is no Dusty in this sphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she has been blocked. Yes, Mary's been blocked. I entertained it for a while. I did. I entertained it for a while, but this is not the platform where you're just gonna say anything and just insult my guests without no proper facts or anything, and not even be willing to cam up yourself. So, yeah, we don't do that here. So, I think y'all all handled that well. Didi said, makes me so mad. Next time I will block trolls immediately. I need to figure out how to set up. I think we getting to the point to where now I may have to start putting wrenches in here.
Mm-hmm. Moderator. Yeah, you're gonna need some, brother.
I might have to start putting moderators in here. You know, and like I said, we just hit 1,000 watch hours again in less than 30 days. Yeah, I'm bragging a little bit because the trolls tried to take a player out of here. So yeah, we did that. And I appreciate everybody who made that possible. Look, Didi mad. She in the other room mad right now.
Uh-oh.
I made her mad. But yeah, I don't bring trash on this platform. We elevate. Like I said, we are changing the narrative of what black culture is. This is right here. This panel is black culture. These discussions are black culture. Nobody on this panel is trash. Nobody on this panel is trash. So I don't know what she's talking about. King Jean, I believe that might have been one of your groupies that you may have turned down.
No, well, I'm gonna tell you something. It probably was something because now a lot of times on my platform, I'm talking about Miss Andrea. I'm talking about things that are done that affect men that really a whole lot of people don't talk about, and I have quite a few people that don't take that well. So it might have been one of them.
Yeah, could have
But as you know, man, my skin is super thick, so she's gonna have to do some more.
yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Maybe she'll come on my show.
Yeah, I mean, cam up. Like if you want to cam up and say your point, I'm, you know, but if you're just gonna continue to talk, I feel like we gave her ample time to cam up. So she didn't. And oh, thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. But anything else y'all would like to add, like to discuss? I got about 20 more minutes. Um, this is open conversation right now.
Well, like you said, CJ, it looks as if Dee Dee is quite upset. It looks like she is. From
Yeah.
the comment she just made.
Let's see. Hold up. She says she will block trolls immediately. She says she was upset because King Jean was speaking facts. She probably typing in somebody's basement on her Obama phone. Oh Lord. Oh Lord Jesus. I see now y'all done made her mad. Now I gotta deal with that. I gotta calm that down.
My bad, brother. My bad.
No, I'm just playing. I was just messing with y'all. But yeah, man, like it's but that's what's gonna happen. The trolls motivate me. I dig that. So but like I said, we got about 20 more minutes. If y'all willing to rock out, open discussion. Caprice, anything you want to say, Chris?
Yeah, I did want to say something because oh sorry, I did say something last time. Let me give somebody else a chance.
Anybody, go ahead and take it. Somebody take it.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I remember I remember my mentor saying that she believes that nurses should be like males, like it should be all men. That the nursing jobs should be ran and should be populated with men more than women. Do you
Why
believe that? Trying to remember why she said that. I think it's because of the physical aspects of it, and because um like when a lot of women are like they get together in a workplace, it's always it's always some crap.
I like
Um,
it is. I like it the way it is because
really?
I get treated great. I don't be in none of the drama. I like it the way it is. Keep it the way it is. I mean, fellas, brothers. I mean, yeah, come on in, come on in. But I'm just saying, like, nah, I keep the ladies where they at. Keep the ladies where I don't be involved in none of the drama. Ain't nobody trying to bother me. Ain't nobody trying to mess with me. But I love seeing my brothers that's in the field. Now, don't get me wrong. I love seeing my brothers that's in the field. But yeah, I just shout out to the female nurses. Let me see. Hold up. She said I can't. Didi said I can't believe she came for his age and education. That was too much. I don't play bully games at all. I know. A lot of females is a lot of sugar, honey, iced tea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Because we celebrating black people. We celebrating black people over here. Tomorrow we are going to talk about black women, dope black women that are redefining the culture, in my opinion. So y'all stay tuned for that. I did see a video. Oh, and Fluke and Fraud, they online right now trying to explain
Oh
themselves.
man.
They
Yep,
trying
they are.
they trying to explain themselves. So I'll be covering that pretty soon. Um,
I think it's too late. They missed their window.
right. Let me see. Is this something I want to show y'all? Something I want to show y'all. I guess it's not here. But let me ask you something. Since the ladies are here, what do you think it takes to be a high value woman? Since we were talking about the high value stuff, what do you think it takes to be a high value woman?
Okay. I might miss some stuff for you, so you can add.
Well,
Number.
well, let
Go
me
ahead.
address this before you go. Marcus said, I was watching and lurking. I don't agree with blocking potential subscribers just because I disagree. Is this an open discussion topic or not? I'm just saying. Well, when you start insulting people with how they look, that's not a conversation that we're going to tolerate. So, I mean, if you have some facts that you want to present and you're willing to cam up, then let's have a conversation. I'm not going to censor anybody. But if you're going to be disrespectful to my guest and insult my guest, well, that's just not going to fly at all. Like, we're not going to do that, especially when they haven't insulted nor disrespected you. Challenging your beliefs versus insulting is two different things. The lady displays sign language. So, no, we don't tolerate that here. But I appreciate your comment. Um, Tariq is the truth and always comes through. Kevin Samuels took his hard hitting content from Jason Black and rebranded it. I also don't appreciate Kevin promoting Thomas Sowell. I don't know who that is. How can someone bully anyone from the chat? That's extremely thin skin. Well, not bullying, but you're not going to disrespect. That's what we're not going to do. We are not going to tolerate any disrespect. Now, had she not insulted anybody, we might have continued the conversation. But the moment you start to call names and stuff like that, you've lost the argument. So there's no need to speak. But go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just had to address that.
No, no worries. So the question was, what makes a high value woman high value?
Right.
I would say one of the biggest things is emotional intelligence. One thing that I talk about that I disagree with the manosphere is that they think that the opposite of logic is emotion, which I understand what they mean, but there is a way for women to express their emotions in a logical way, where most parties can win. And so emotional intelligence is really important for a high value woman. And also you need to be able to express what your needs are so someone can help you. So that level of vulnerability is very, very important as well. You have to be welcoming, you have to be soft, you have to be fluid, you have to learn how to submit, know when to submit, and you have to have a certain level of grace, understanding that, I'm assuming that a high value woman wants to be a wife. You have to make sure that you're prepared for mistakes from your partner and give them the grace that they need, to continue to strive. I listen to Dr. John Gray a lot, and he talks about, whenever he doesn't do something the way his wife wants him to do it, the more positive she corrects him, or the more positive her correction sounds, the more likely he is to do it.
Wait a minute. About John Gray. Is it the same John Gray that was caught stepping out? Is that him? Is that who I'm thinking about? The fat guy?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. He's not overweight.
Oh, okay. I'm tripping. Okay. Sorry.
No worries. And so, yeah, that was basically done.
Okay. Caprice.
Yeah, basically everything that Christina said, and I'm not for sure if you did mention, I think you did, but like learn how to like indirectly correct. Yeah, you said that right. Like learn, not like direct correction, but it's like indirect.
Help Marcus out. I had to get Marcus up out of here too because he was trolling too.
And might be her cousin or something.
Yeah. Again, thank you. And sorry, Japri, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries.
He gets to run his platform the way he sees fit. He's building a certain type of community over here, and she didn't fit. That's a fact. You will not disrespect any of my guests on my platform. You can go over to other platforms for that. Anybody I bring on this show, I have a level of respect for. You will not do it. We can all disagree. We've had disagreements, but never once has anybody on this platform ever called anybody out of their names. I am not having it. It's not going to happen because we disagree. That is not how a conversation works. So if you want to come on, you don't have to be here. You don't have to watch. I had 0 subscribers a couple days ago. So if you don't like it, then leave. I don't care. That's fine. You will not disrespect any of the women on this platform. You will not disrespect any of the men on this platform. If you want to debate, then that's fine. Cam up and let's do it. But if you're just going to sit there and call names and not argue your point, then you're just wasting time. So anyways, I just got him up out of here. But go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, so basically everything that Christina said. But I remember, I forgot who said that is there such thing as a high value woman?
Mm-hmm.
There's like some little like controversy on that. Like some men would say like there's no such thing as a high value woman. Because of what a high value man is, you would think that a high value woman is like the same, everything that Kevin Samuel said. So, I mean, I believe that there is, but it's probably not called a high value woman. But It took, to the degree, yeah. But yeah, basically everything that Christina said, is true. I agree too.
King Gene, high value woman. What is it to you?
Look, that's one of the things I'm gonna have to take from Kevin Samuel. Feminine, beautiful, inspirational. She part of the FBI. And so if you are looking for an example of what it means, then you have two that's on the panel. Because now, look, let's just be real about it. The skills that it takes to be truly feminine are missing. So if ever you run into someone and they embody everything that has to do with femininity, then like Kevin Samuels mentioned, those women do not stay on the market long. If someone finds, and that's actually what you're doing, you found the wife, and so because you recognize that she is a wife, then hey, you scoop up real fast, like, and so that's what I think. I think anyone who truly buys into femininity, and Chris talks about that at length on her podcast, as opposed to broken femininity, real, true femininity. I think that that's an asset to any man because with all your skills and all of the things that you're able to do, that femininity reinforces the fact that you can be productive. It reinforces the fact that as a man, you are valuable. And I think that's needed.
I agree, King Gene. What do you think about and I think we touched on it earlier, Chris, the pick me concept. Are you familiar with Shira 7?
The gold digger? Can I call her that? The
Yeah.
one, she got married at 20. She met her husband at a bar, and she was basically just like, "What kind of car do you drive?" She was like 25, and he's like 78.
Yeah. To me,
Yeah.
she's like a female version of Fresh and Fit, if you ask me. She just does it better. But
Wait, who? I'm sorry.
Shira 7.
Shira 7.
She was 7.
And I don't have a problem with her, but see over on her platform. Let me see. Get him up out of here. I need. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get. Clearly, I'm gonna have to get what you call this now. I'm gonna have to get moderators now.
I think you can. Oh, sorry, not to cut you off. I think you can just like left click on Dee Dee's name, and then you can easily make her a moderator that way.
Okay.
I think I'm not 100% sure.
I'll do it from StreamYard. Maybe I have to do it from the YouTube stream.
That I'm not sure about.
Let me see. Oh, the trolls is heavy tonight. I think
they heavy.
They heavy tonight. I think they upset that I went at Fresh and Fit.
See,
CJ, some of they people.
You have made it now. Now that you have haters, you have officially made it, brother. You so have, yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Add as moderator. Okay. All right. I just made Dee Dee a moderator. All right, Dee Dee. There you go. The power is yours. Go ahead, Joe.
Before I cut you off, I think you were going to say something about pick me culture.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, you're right. So, how do y'all feel pick me culture? What do you feel about being a pick me? Like, do you take offense to that? Like, if women call you, oh, you want to be picked by men, you only saying that because you want to agree with the men. Well, what do you feel about that?
Do you want to take it first, Pri? I don't take offense to it. Again, like I go back to what I learned, like the mind is a projector. And so if they're telling me that I want to be picked, it's because, they're feeling a little bit ignored. But at the same time, I don't think there's that it reminds me that what I'm doing is right. Like I'm supposed to critically think about these things. And I'm also supposed to be aware of what hasn't been working and pattern interrupt, and when people say you're a pick me or you're this or you're that, I would much rather want to be one of the 25%, women who get married. This is assuming women want to get married, of course, but like I'd much rather be one of the 25% who are married, happily married, stay married, than a woman who wants to be married and has no idea how to get there and then can't even acknowledge that she doesn't know how to get there. So when they call me a pick me, honestly, I feel like I'm on the right track because it means that I've acknowledged what it's going to take to even be chosen, whereas they're still in denial about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think the whole pick me concept is stupid. What woman would not want to be chosen? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, oh, you're a pick me, you're a pick me. That's the girl. Women who say that are just women who won't be chosen. Men don't want to deal with you. Point blank, period. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, like, what woman in her right mind would not want to be chosen by a good man? It makes no sense. Like, that logic is like that. I don't know. King Gene, the pick me concept as a man.
Absolutely ridiculous. But I will say this.
Right.
Like Chris said, now the 25% that are for marriage and for having a long lasting commitment with someone. Japri said it at the beginning, man, toward the beginning of what we were discussing. This is a skill. And maybe these people don't have that skill. And because they don't have the skill, then they criticize the ones that do. Instead of, like you mentioned, CJ, instead of getting up under an individual who is aware of what it takes to have a long-lasting relationship and learning from them. That would be, the more logical response than to criticize. Why don't you learn? And then you could be in that 25% along with the lady that taught you.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. So we got some comments about the pick-me's. Hold up. Didi said, I must have a misunderstanding of what a pick-me is. Ladies, would y'all like to say what a pick-me is one more time?
Us? Japri?
Would y'all like to just tell the audience what a pick-me is one more time for the people who may not be sure?
I'm not sure. I just learned about it yesterday.
Yeah. So a pick-me is a woman who they call her a pick-me because she tends to agree with men, and they call her a pick-me because they make it seem like she's desperate and want to get chosen by men. I think that's dumb to even make that a term, because she doesn't necessarily have to agree with men, but she's agreeable. And there's a difference. She's not agreeing with everything that he says, but she's easy to get along with. Yes, men are gonna pick that. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, how is that an insult? You dig what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know like how that's an insult. But you have, and see, this is why the rise of feminism, and you have people like Shira 7 that can capitalize off anger that a lot of these women have and make money off of it. Now, again, I'm not mad at her hustle. I'm not. But I feel like Shira 7 and women like her, like that whole pink pill, Kristen Carolyn and Cynthia G community, they are all very angry women.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Cynthia G. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not gonna go in on her. I'm not gonna go in on none of them. But this whole pick me culture is crazy. Ann Key says, well, and shout out to Ann Key, because Ann Key, she has said things that I didn't agree with, but she wasn't disrespectful.
Not at all.
Respectful. She said her comment, we addressed it, it was what it was. That's how you have a dialogue. We don't have to agree, but if you can come with something and you ain't got to be disrespectful, then let's do it, because you're not going to disrespect anybody on my platform. So here we go. Wait, I am convinced that women that call into Kevin Samuels webcast just want to be seen by a big audience and potential hookup and argue with him. Yeah. Tariq says there is nothing wrong with pygmies. They just mad because no one is choosing them. Let me see. Infinite Dream says pygmies don't critically think or hold males accountable for bad behavior and disrespect. So why would anyone call you ladies pygmies? They name callers are just being intellectually dishonest. Didi says, I thought pick-me girls were women who did any and everything for a man's attention. That's what they claim that a pick-me is. But from what I've seen, the women that they call pick-me's are very dope women. and women who want to be chosen by successful men, from what I've seen. So if that's a pick me, then be a pick me, because pick me's are winners. They they are winners to me. Like, duh, isn't this the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the? Why wouldn't you want to be picked? Only a fool doesn't want to be chosen. Exactly. That's not the definition where you are getting that from. C. Vesey says, especially Cynthia. Yeah. Yeah. So that whole pink pill community, they're a very angry bunch of women. And shout out to the women like Roxy Bexels out here, these real feminine women who are showing women, in my opinion, the right way, because these women are successful in relationships, and people like Shira Seven and Cynthia G. Like, I don't know why they have an audience or why women will listen to them when one has been accused of allegedly getting pregnant by a dusty nigga, and the other one, has been accused of all kind of scams, schemes, and everything like that. And like, I don't get it. Anybody can be a false prophet nowadays. I thought about starting a church. I mean, shoot, if they can do it, why not me? Shoot, the congregation of CJ Carl's pastor. I'm gonna turn on some church music and just start preaching. It seems easy. All you got to do is say what people say, what they want to hear, and you say it a certain way, and there you go. No matter how foolish it really sounds.
I think.
Go ahead.
So when someone Infinite Dreams, they said pick me. So I know that term all too well. Like, I've been called pick me or pick Misha or whatever, pick a Rita, pick a Bonquita, whatever they call it. They said what? All kind of names. So it says that pick Mishas don't critically think or hold males accountable for bad behavior and disrespect. So like some type of post, I will post like I'll post something that says like, women stop dressing a certain way, or you won't be catcalled by a man, or he won't slide up in your DMs, or he won't want to just sleep with you, and I would get called like, hey, well, but that I can wear what I want, blah blah blah. Or you were picking me. It's just that we're holding women accountable, and I'm not saying that most things that guys do, it's not acceptable. But if you got free cookies out, they're gonna go and get some cookies. Cookie Monster wants some cookies. So it's just like, it's not that we're not holding males accountable. Like, you gotta understand that men are different and the way they're wired. And if you don't understand men, you're gonna call women like myself and other women like Christina a pick me. Like, you have to understand men, the way that they think and how they think. And I'm not gonna say that it's good or it's like all bad or what, but that's just like their nature. And like it's nothing wrong with wanting to be chosen. It's nothing wrong with being agreeable. And most of the times, the women that they're called pick me's, we're really talking about men, not males, not dusties or whatever you call. We're talking about men. Like, men don't value a woman who shows her assets on Instagram. Now, but my boyfriend, okay, but your boyfriend is a male. He's not a man yet. Like, most times we're talking about men, and they confuse the two, and we get called pygmies. And I know said Dee said something about women who did anything and everything for a man's attention. In a way, I can understand, like, some people think that, but it's not. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to win my husband over. So I'm going to do things that he like. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, I don't know, this whole culture of like, not needing a man, and it's making all these new terms about pick Mishas, like pick Mishas.
That's funny. Yeah. Like, that is funny. I think a lot of them are just getting picked. The ones who call the ones pick me, they getting picked by the wrong dudes. You getting picked by the dudes that, I ain't knocking these type of cats, but they don't got good jobs. They got multiple baby mamas and all them. Yes, that's what your pink pick Misha coochie is attracting. Yes. So you have to ask yourself a question. What is it about you that are attracting these type of dudes that's where you can't get picked by the dudes that you want to be chosen by. And you make fun of the women that want to be chosen by good men. Because let's just be real. Every woman don't want to work. Some women want to be laid up and taken care of. That's just what she want. And I'm not mad at her for what she wants. So if you want to call her a pick Misha, some of these girls gonna be like, well, I'll be a pick Misha all day. Because while you calling me a pick Misha, my man out here working, I'm taking care of this house. So you can, and I'll be a pick Misha all day. Shout out to Ann Key for making that comment though. Pass the Plate Ministries. That is gonna be my hashtag. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to donate to Pass the Plate Ministries, go ahead and hit that cash app at the $ these CJ Kyles at Pass the Plate Ministries. I appreciate that right now. But yeah, shout out to Creflo Dollar too. That's my guy. Reverend Ike, shout out to Reverend Ike. She said, right, I ain't never been called a pick me. I don't play that at all. Oh, you would definitely be considered a pick me though, because
There's something wrong with being this, quote unquote, pick me or whatever. Because yes, I want to be picked. Yes, I want to be chosen every time, every single time.
It is what it is. Like I said, they're gonna talk about the winners all the time.
They are.
I remember one post I said most men are good. I posted something that said most men are good, and woof, I was attacked. What about the rapists? Okay, well, men don't rape. Males do.
Yeah.
Real men don't rape. I was attacked when I said most men are good, because most men are good. Most men are simple. It's just us. Some men are, but I was so attacked.
It's bad in any gender. You have good men, you have bad men, you have good women, you have bad women. I mean, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't get it. So it is what it is. How do y'all feel about, because a couple weeks back we had a discussion about age, and this is gonna be the last thing, we're gonna wrap it up. We had a discussion about age and age shaming. I wouldn't call it age shaming, but about what men want. And a lot of men said they don't want to deal with younger women. And I thought it was appropriate to address it, because we had a couple of people on the panel and they disagreed about it. And one of the people that were on the panel, she gave her take on her own panel, her own platform. And I want to talk about the idea of age shaming. So ladies, do you think men are quote unquote age shaming when they get to a certain level in life and they become successful, and they say that they don't want a woman their own age or older? They want to deal with a younger woman, based on younger women tend to not have as much life experience, which means she's not burdened down by some, younger women, they're not burdened down by some of the things that older women go through when they get chosen at such a later age. How do you feel about that?
I don't think it's age shaming. When men have preferences and want to choose and pick what they want, it's called shaming. But women do it. We do it all day. I don't think it's age shaming. I don't think it has anything to do with shaming. And age. I mean, how do you age shame?
Well, her argument was that when these men want younger women, they want women who are dumb, who don't know anything, who are quick to say yes to anything they want. That was the argument. And I just want to know you ladies' thoughts. Like, if a man who works hard, who spends half his life getting to where he is, let's just say he's 40 something years old, and he wants to deal with a woman who's 22. And because of what he feels that I can impress this woman, I can take her places, I can show her things she's never seen. I value her youth. I value her womb. Is that age shaming?
No, it's not. So the whole life experience thing, I think, is a huge misconception. So you do need life experience to be a healthy feminine woman, because, for example, like a lot of women think being agreeable is like your partner says, "Oh, where do you want to go out to eat?" And you're like, "Oh, whatever you want." That would drive a man crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have preferences, and with that comes life experience. But the gap is that you're not supposed to. Women have been taught to gain these life experiences on their own. go out, be independent, and gain all these life experiences. What's supposed to happen is that you're supposed to learn these from the older women. They're supposed to teach you based on their life experiences. So when you enter the world as a woman between the ages of 18 and maybe like 26, you already have this knowledge, so each generation of women is just better and better. And so like the idea of life experience is true, but the idea that you have to get that with age is not true for women. It's true for men. Men get it with age. Women are taught that and trained in that at a young age.
Yep.
And that's what we're missing.
That's a fact, because as a woman, Chris, you want a man that has resources, right? And usually the kind of resources that most women require a man at 17, 18, 19 years old, just most men can't do that at such a young age. So that is why it takes men longer. And it takes men a longer time to get to where he is at the position to where he can provide the resources of taking care of a wife, maybe taking care of children without having and needing assistance from his woman. This older man now has resources that he can now provide. With women, I think a lot of the times too, Chris, a lot of women want men to think like they think, and we don't. We are not wired that way. I mean, that's just what it is. We don't look for the same things that you all look for in women. And that is why I think a lot of the times Kevin Samuels gets a lot of the criticism that he wants, because when you tell a woman that men don't care about your degree, that probably hurts people's feelings. You dig what I'm saying? That probably hurts, and that probably makes them feel some sort of way. But I see it all the time. A lot of women in these high positions, they are the most unsuccessful people at relationships. With hypergamy, if you mix that in, it's a lot of men that can't, because they now outnumber us, number one. And two, it's just not that many men on that level. So women have to really sit back and rethink what they want. And I get it. It's hard. It's a hard realization to come to. What do you think, King Jim?
Absolutely. And I think that especially the panel member that you're referring to, CJ, I had a personal conversation with her, and I reassured her that we are not saying that those women aren't beautiful. We're not saying that they don't have any value. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is as men, we prioritize cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee Dee said something in the comments that was absolutely true. After a certain period of time, you become set in your ways. You found what works for you. And so what would be the reason to change it?
Yeah.
And so you're looking for, because now think about it, the predicament that you just described, CJ, you have a man who has worked hard his whole entire life. He has attained to a particular status that he has been working for. He has the resources that are necessary to support a family. And in most situations, he's looking for a lady that can accommodate him having a family. Now, if you are of the age where you're going to go into high-risk pregnancy, then think about that. Now it's a possibility that he could lose the baby and he could lose you.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're talking about a precarious situation. So instead of having to go through all that, then most of the time we choose women that are younger, so that the pregnancy and having children and all that will go well, because now we're standing there ready to support and help in any way that we can. But we need to have a situation that meets what we desire also. And like Kevin Samuel was saying, most of those guys, when they marry younger women, they're thinking about children.
Yeah. And I don't think. Yeah, we want cooperation. We don't want to listen. If I'm a man that's making $250,000 a year, I'm in shape, and I have options. You have to be a damn fool if you think I'm going to choose a woman who is combative. Absolutely not, and hard to deal with. Why would I do that when I don't have to? I don't have to deal with that. You know why? Because I put in the work. and I have enough resources to where I can choose what I want to choose from. So what man, and this is what gets me when some of these women call up to the show, they'll say that, well, I have 3 kids by 3 different dudes, but I still want a man who makes over 6 figures, who's over 6 feet tall and who's in shape. Are you out of your damn mind? Seriously, are you out of your mind? What man in his right mind would deal with that? I mean, seriously. Like a woman, I seen a clip where a woman had 4 children by 4 different men, saying she still wanted a high value man. Lady, if a man even looked at you, you need to be thankful. Seriously. 4 kids by 4 different men. Knock it off. Knock it off. But ladies and gentlemen, we are almost 3 hours in. I think it's about time that we wrap this thing up. I want to give a shout out to the trolls who made me get my first moderator today. So yeah, I guess we doing something right over here on the show. Let me see. Didi said women my age and older frustrate me when we discuss relationship stuff. So I can only imagine how hard it is for men who are trying to date them. Whew. Boy, they finna call you a pick me on that one, Jesus. Let's see. Infinite Dream says basic read before anyone gets into a relationship. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Breaks down everything from how to communicate to hormonal differences. She is allowed to fantasize. Shout out to Ann Key, man, and Pass the Plate Ministries. If you're black and young, that doesn't guarantee a healthy birth. The preventable deaths are high in first world countries for black women. Yeah, you may have a point, but the numbers do say the older you are typically and more likely to have a complicated birth due to your age.
Absolutely.
Of course, it doesn't guarantee if you're younger, that you're going to have a healthy birth, but some people are born with 6 toes. There are always exceptions to the rule. So, but I appreciate that comment, Infinite Dreams. You've been dropping some real good comments tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, oh, well, I got the type of man they want.
You better represent, Didi.
Pick me, Didi. That's what's up. Well, I think that's about it. If y'all want to shout out y'all platforms, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all the solo layout. Bam, right there.
Hello, my name is Chris. I have a YouTube channel called The Blooming Ebony, and you can follow me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. And Infinite Dreams, I'm reading Men Are From Mars, Men Are From Venus currently. And so if you would like to join a book club, it would be great if you follow me. I would love to get your thoughts on that book. That would be wonderful. Yeah.
All righty then. Cool. Let's see. Bam.
All right. My name is Marcus, and I'm from the King Gene podcast. And this is very ironic, but I think well placed. Chris's podcast is about true femininity and practicing it and what it looks like. And my podcast is about true masculinity, manhood. How can we as individuals develop it? What does it look like? How can we benefit others by practicing manhood? As I mentioned, the podcast is the King Gene, and you can also find me on Instagram with the same handle at the King Gene.
All righty. Well, before you go, I cannot let y'all leave without doing this. Are y'all ready for the joke of the day? Are y'all ready? Audience, for those of y'all who may be new, at the end of the broadcast like this, I do a joke of the day. I didn't do a joke of the day earlier today. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You are in for a 2-for-1 special. Yes, you are. So for the first joke of the day. If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? They bring pilgrims. Thank you. I will be here all week. All week. Oh, yeah. I'm on Fresh and Fit Head tomorrow, but don't go yet. I got one more for you. I have one more for you. What do you call a factory that makes okay products? What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A, satisfactory. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been today's episode. She said Dusty's. She said Dusty's. That's funny. That is funny, Japrice. That was a good one. Stray dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been today's episode. I am so happy that you are here. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Please hit that like button, notification bell, all that good stuff. Leave a comment, share it. Shout out to the trolls. And yeah, I hope to see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be talking about fly Black women who are redefining the culture. And we getting back on fraud and flukes head tomorrow too. I may even come back tonight. You never know. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.